talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuff and things and Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Good morning. It's a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio, live from the surface of the sun. Jesus Christ. Went to a concert last night and thought, well, the sun will go down and it'll be... Nope. God. Welcome to Satan's Anus. I hope you're surviving. You know what I really like is when you take pictures of the thermometer on your dashboard, like we don't know that it's hot. That's my favorite. So please do that today. Take lots of pictures of the... We don't have a PNG.
I mean, I guess you want me to retry?
Well, I mean,
It's Scott Bluett. I mean,
I'm aware of what it is.
You know,
Griffin.
like he's
Griffin.
He's been on like 4 teams this year.
I understand that, but like, you understand why it looks completely different than any other picture that's on the board.
And you understand that it's
But
Scott
if
Bluett.
the answer is there isn't a PNG, then I get it. But you didn't answer that question. You just said
no, I couldn't find an immediate PNG.
Okay,
that was the only Orioles hat I
again,
could find.
you could
picture of.
answer it that way. This thing that you do where you just try to throw like subterfuge, where you're like, hey, look over here, instead of just answering the question.
No, I did not find a PNG.
Lord.
If anyone has a PNG of Scott Bluett's headshot.
I was saying it's warm. It's warm. It's warm. Warm out today. Even warmer yesterday. Be even warmer tomorrow. Yeah, the whole thing. So if you take a picture of your dashboard, people really like that because we don't know that it's hot.
I'll send one directly to you.
We're not aware. So, like when you say it, we're like, whoa. I guess it must actually be hot out because you put a picture of your dashboard up. So that's the good stuff. I would get on that about as soon as you can. Orioles do drop 2 out of 3 in New York over the weekend. Today's show is brought to you by the new print issue of Press Box, which is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, hitting the hundreds of locations around town. Where you find Press Box, you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. It's our tribute to Baltimore's first basketball Hall of Famer, Carmelo Anthony. You see him on the cover. Inside, we talked to those that knew Melo about what Baltimore meant, how Baltimore shaped his Hall of Fame career. Also, it's our annual travel issue, so we'll get you information about all of the various things that you can do throughout the state of Maryland, both events, activities for you and your family during the course of the summer, all inside this new print issue of Press Box. Find it for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms. And in the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box, you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Scott Bluett on Friday. No one could throw a clean inning against the Yankees, and then Scott Bluett came in and went 6 up and 6 down to bridge them through and help them pick up a 5-3 victory. It's the first time that Scott Bluett has ever been a man of the match. Congratulations to him and to the entire Bluett family. And remember how good we were feeling on Friday night? The Orioles had back-to-back wins after the debacle in Tampa, and you're like, didn't affect them. They got a chance to go in, maybe sweep the Yankees.
Zach Eflin pitching Saturday.
Yeah, right? You used to feel good in those situations. I'm going to put them on the board anyway. They went 3-4. That's not quite bad enough for me to take the board down, but I remind every week they're on the hot seat. another truly dreadful week. The board's I'm not changing that. The board's gone. They mix in like a 1-5 this week. It's gone. It's over, Jack. We're not doing it anymore. It's not. This isn't bluster. This isn't me just if it happens, if there's another truly god awful week, forget about it. We're just moving on. We're talking tiddlywinks the rest of the summer. We'll talk. It's the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Like, we'll do all that sort of stuff instead because it ain't worth it. But they got a win. Now, as far as the rest of the weekend is concerned, you know, it's you saw it. Zach Eflin stunk, and the Orioles couldn't get a hit. Well, they did get one. Even the one. A bit of controversy as to whether that should have been a strikeout before that, but
No way.
I thought it was a great call. Gary Sanchez gets them their one hit. And then, yesterday. Here's my thought, and I'm not a baseball man. But, like, if I were, I would probably suggest that maybe you try to score runs in more than one of the 18 innings that you play against a team. Just a crazy, I know, here's Glenn out there just saying stuff. Just, if I were in charge, if I were Tony Mansoliner,
Is that what it is?
I would probably suggest that scoring runs in only one of 18 innings probably not gonna cut it.
You don't think he knows that?
I don't know.
You're on.
I don't know. Because, again, that's what happened. So I don't know if he had that conversation with the boys or not. They had some chances. Not a lot yesterday, but they had some chances to add to it and failed. Is Brian Baker overworked? Probably. But is the entire bullpen overworked? Also, yes. It's what happens when you're not getting distance from your starting pitchers. And you want to give Dean Kramer credit for yesterday because he certainly pitched well enough. But in this stretch where you haven't had an off day, which you obviously still don't have, you've just kind of needed someone, and Charlie Morton was this. Jesus, you did get the someone. That's the crazy part, right? Like, you got it from Charlie Morton. You needed someone else to step up and really help to reset the bullpen. And no one did over the weekend. So yeah. Somebody's got to pitch. And Brian Baker, who's been really good, and we really like, he didn't get the job done in that spot. And that's a real shame. And somebody might say, well, that's probably deserved. You shouldn't have won a series in which you went 18 innings and only scored in one of them. So this might have been the baseball gods stepping in and saying, no, we're not going to allow that. That's not going to be the way this weekend's going to go. Still would have been nice. You would have taken it. You would have been really happy to come out of that with a weekend. A lot of people are talking about the difference between the Orioles going 3-4 on the road trip and what you feel like should have been, in quotes, 5-2. I'm not really sure where should have been comes from because you play the games for 9 innings. And over 9 innings, the Orioles didn't deserve to win the game that they blew the 8-0 lead against Tampa. If you want to say they could have been 5-2 for the week, I'll absolutely agree with that. And the difference between a 3-4 road trip and a 5-2 road trip to Tampa and New York is drastic. I mean, that is a dramatic difference in vibes, at least, if not tangibility. You come in today having gone 5-2. Well, it's still hotter than hell, so I'm not sure how many people would have showed up at the games tonight. Let's just say you come in going 5-2 on the road against Tampa and New York, and maybe it's not 174 degrees outside. There's life and energy, and it feels like something's happening. And they were trying to force that on the national broadcast yesterday on Roku, like the idea that, hey, there's something going on with the Orioles because they wanted to tell a compelling story. And I said this late in the game on Twitter. All of these things can be true. It can be that the Orioles have been better. It can be that it's felt like they've been playing something that resembles the type of baseball that we were used to with the Orioles. Those things can all be true. But in the end, it can also be true that they're simply not a very good baseball team, and that the hole they dug for themselves is simply too large for this to be practical, for it to matter that they're a little bit better. Like, them being a little bit better that's not the goal. You didn't come into the season saying, well, I hope they're a little bit better than being god-awful. It's trying to create a new standard just to, like, edify ourselves. They're not a very good baseball team. And it's still the biggest reason is the exact same thing that we thought it was going to be coming into the year. The pitching. With the hilarious part being that Charlie Morton's the one guy who's pitching right now. It's just not very good. It's just kind of meh. And the offense is okay, but not good enough to overcome meh pitching. They're not very good. And you want to try to look at little things and say, hey, that's progress, and maybe it's irrelevant in the big picture. And when you dig yourself the dramatic hole that the Orioles dug, a 3-4 week, like as I said about any other number of situations, losing 2 out of 3 in Sacramento, these things can happen in baseball, but they can't happen to a team that's double-digit games under 500 and trying to crawl out. You can't overcome that and overcome squandered opportunities. That's the context in which it really matters. The could have gone 5-2 really matters because a path back has to involve that. Trudging along near 500 doesn't do a damn thing other than keep you a bad baseball team. Digging out of this hole requires sustained stretches of really good baseball. Not a stretch of decent baseball. Am I angry about what happened in New York this weekend? I really like to know what's going on with Zach Eflin. I mean, I really would. And someone might say this is closer to the real Zach Eflin than the guy that looked like an ace at the end of last season, and this is why he's not worth the money that you guys wanted to pay him on Would You Rather Wednesday. Maybe that's right. But it seems oversimplistic. I'd like to know what's going on with Zach Eflin, because if you're not paying him, you're trying to trade him, and
now you can't.
It looked like he was going to be one of the top arms available at the deadline, and was going to land you a lot. And now I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what he is. Maybe Charlie Morton will be that guy instead.
What a world.
Bizarre world. Somebody asked me this weekend. They said, okay, it was obviously if you had to pick an Orioles MVP right now, it'd be Ryan O'Hearn. Then he said, who would be second? You have to fill out a ballot.
Ramon Laureano? I don't know.
Like a minute ago, you would have said Jackson Holliday, and I guess Jackson Holliday probably still defaults to second. But, like, you look at Jackson Holliday's numbers, and you're like, why are we so hot and bothered about Jackson Holliday?
Maybe if you erase the last month, Cedric Mullins,
No. Yeah, I mean, he was only for the first 3 weeks of the season. Yeah, I mean, like, he definitely would have been MVP, but no.
Well, when I'm looking behind you and I see there's 3 guys with 3 stars next to their name, or next to their face. Mullins, Eflin, and Sagano. Oh, sorry, and Morton. But
that might be Charlie Morton for the last month.
Laureano's got 2.
Okay. I mean, I like Ramon Laureano. Don't get me wrong. He's been decent, but decent. Like, that's just where we are with this conversation. Orioles lose. Look, we're going to talk to Zach Moore in a minute. The big storyline today, obviously, is the catcher situation and the growing calls for Samuel Basallo to get the call up. Ironically, before Maverick Hanley got trucked yesterday, this was a topic that came up because Tony Mansolino was asked about whether or not they considered Samuel Basallo. And he threw lots of cold water on that suggestion, saying, quote, we haven't talked about him. Which, by the way, even if, just pause. You haven't talked about him?
Well, he's not on the big league team. Why would they?
That seems odd. Like, I don't want to really nitpick this because I don't actually believe him, so it's hard for me to be angry about him about it. And this is, again, why I don't, like, he's almost certainly lying. But why you lie about that type of thing? Like, in the context of we didn't consider him this time around. Like, okay, that might be, but to say we haven't talked about him, I'm so short. Just to make it perfectly clear. But from my point of view, just as a development guy, I'm a long-term development guy, not necessarily this. But as a development guy, this sounds like a Trump answer.
I love the way he talks, yeah.
This sounds like a Trump answer. What I would love to see is him absolutely knock the door down. I don't think you take a guy like Samuel Basallo and you bring him to the big leagues just because there's a need. I think you bring Samuel Basallo to the big leagues when he's absolutely destroyed AAA in all facets of the game. His at-bats, his defense, everything. So when he destroys AAA and then he knocks the door down, to me, then he becomes part of the conversation. I don't personally think you bring a guy to the big leagues with that type of profile until that happens, unquote. With respect, did Maverick Hanley bang the door down?
Well, yeah. He walks up to the Top Gun theme.
Right,
so.
that's a great point.
Or no, it's just
like this is did Luis Vazquez bang the door down? Why does Samuel Basallo need to bang the door down, but other guys don't? Other guys can just sort of be in the general vicinity of the door. Like you open the door and you look to your right, you look to your left, and the first human you see, you say, hey, come on in. They're like, I don't even play baseball. They're like, can you pitch? Because Luis Vazquez had the best ERA of the week.
I thought about him for 3 out there.
All right, pitcher Luis Vazquez. Look, I'm not trying to be an a-hole about this because I understand there's elements of this where he can't tell you the truth. But we don't this doesn't just get to stand. We don't just accept this. We do this all the time, like with government, when somebody gives spin as an answer and we just say, well, that's the answer they gave. We have the obligation to sort of dissect it. That's nonsense. It is. Now, the last sentence, the bring a guy to the big leagues with that type of profile until that happens. Again, why is it more important for the guy who we think it's going to be good than for the guy that isn't going to be good? Why is it okay that the guy that isn't going to be good be on the Major League roster, but the guy that we think could be good can't be on the Major League roster? And the answer, of course, is service time, right? Like, that's the answer. But we can't say that part out loud. We don't think it matters if Maverick Hanley stinks at the bigs because we don't think he's ever going to be good, so we don't care about his service time. But we care about that with Samuel Basallo, so we want it to be that when he's good, when he gets here, he's already good. So that we can maximize the time that we have him. And that conversation falls somewhere between smart business and, as a lot of people on Twitter like to say, loser mentality. Because the immediate follow-up is, if he's that good, then you just pay him. How about maybe you consider paying him now so that service time doesn't matter? If service time doesn't matter, then who the hell cares if he's banging the door down or not? But that's the part that can't be said out loud. The reason why it matters for someone with Samuel Basallo's profile to be banging the door down, but someone with Luis Vazquez's profile to just have ever seen a door before in his life, be familiar with the concept of what a door is. They just walked around, hey, do you know what a door is? And he's like, I think I saw one once. It's the one with the glass and the... No, you're thinking of a window. If, like, on the fourth guess they can get door, then he's allowed to come in. The reason is because of service time. Because you want to maximize the time that you have him. You want him to be at his best while you've had him. And that's a problem. Because that's saying out loud, we don't intend to sign him. Because believe it or not, you could do that today. You could call up Samuel Basallo and give him a contract today. And you can have an entire argument about whether that's smart business or not. But what's not smart business is Chadwick Trump being a Major League Baseball player. Let's bring in Zach Moore. We'll talk about this and other things with him. Of course, you know him from the Bat Around, and, of course, our buddy from Pigtown Sports, former Orioles farmhand Zach Moore, with us now here on GCR. Zach, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Glenn, I'm doing real good. How are you?
I'm all right. I want to say I'm fired up about this, but I'm not fired up about it because, like, I do understand how business works. I understand how these decisions are made. I think it's laughable that we accept what Tony Mansolino said at face value because we have to point out that there is contradiction. Why does it matter that someone who's a high-level prospect has to fully develop, but someone who isn't can just wander up to the big leagues whenever you feel like it? We have to be willing to call them out and say, what you're not saying, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. You're saying that because it's about service time. And we have to be willing to just have that conversation and not try to pretend like it's some when Tony Mansolino says I'm a development guy 6 different times in the same quote, dude, it's not that. Like, it's not there is no holy path to how someone becomes a major leaguer, and it's because they have to be this good at the AAA level, and that guarantees they'll be good at the bigs.
Yeah. I mean, I still think Basallo's got a lot to learn. Coming off this elbow injury, he's only even caught 15 games this year, and he's only 3 for 16 throwing guys out. So it's like he hasn't shown that elbow's ready to make the big league jump yet. And, I mean, the bat has looked good, but he's hitting 216 with runners in scoring position. And we already have that problem right now in the big leagues. Like, you're just going to add even more of a problem if he comes up here and fails. So I kind of understand it. They do have to play that stupid card because they can't say things and then get in trouble with the new MLB rules and crap. It's unfortunate. I don't think we see him this year. He's still got a lot to learn. He's got to keep that elbow healthy. I mean, it's 2 years in a row he's had an issue with it. And they've primarily been playing a lot of first base, a lot of DH. I mean, 15 games, and what has Norfolk already played? 50-some, 60-some? So he's got a lot to learn to control pitching staff and whatnot. I mean, you could throw him up here and let him learn up here. Honestly, he's not going to learn it in Norfolk, but they got to be willing to do it.
So what you just said is the interesting part to me, right? Like, is that if you needed an everyday catcher, I'd be in strong agreement that, right, like, it's not Samuel Basallo at this point. But you don't need an everyday catcher. You need a second catcher and maybe someone that you can try to squeeze in the lineup otherwise. Is it more imperative that he have everyday AAA at-bats or is it like more imperative that you have a better option than Chadwick Trump when you don't have an off day to be your backup catcher at the moment?
I'll be dead honest with you. I think they need a starting catcher. And if you're going to do it, bring in Basayo, let him learn, be willing to take the hits to the chin of what he's going to be as a rookie and a young guy. Gary Sanchez can't be starting for you, in my opinion.
But they paid him. He's going to. They paid him $10 million. He's going to start.
I know. I know, but we all watch his defense every day.
I understand, but like they're not going to say, forget it. We'll get some. He's going to start.
I know. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if he's not going to come up here and play every day, I mean, he's not going to get any better by that. I mean, do you want to maybe do like every 2 games between him and Gary so he gets a little bit of at bats? That might help, but I mean, as a 20-year-old kid who's got to figure out how to ramp it up every 2 days, it's not easy.
I know what you're saying. I am in a weird spot with this one, right? Because there is something. I think the Trump argument would be not Donald Trump. I mean, like the one that wins out, like the Trump card argument would be this season's not going anywhere. So why would you waste, like from a sheer business standpoint, why would you waste any service time on someone who's a highly regarded prospect for a season that appears to be rudderless? And like. I get that thought. I just also, it's really hard to justify continuing to play quad A players at any, like, that's a really difficult thing to stomach and to just say out loud, like, well, we kind of aren't trying.
Well, it's a 2-way street. I mean, if you don't bring them up to learn in a year that you think is a loss, then you got to try to do that when you're in the middle of a playoff run. Yes, I know the whole service time and whatnot, but like, do you have time to take your hits on the chin or for a 21, 22-year-old catcher?
It's an interesting point.
Just because you're trying to save it, or do you want to get him now and then, get him his 300 at bats. So in 26 and 27, when they're in the thick of things, he's out there hitting 40 home runs a year. It's a 2-way street that they're going to have to play. And I don't know if they're going to make the right. I mean, I wouldn't be able to make the right call. I'll be completely honest with you.
No, that's a really compelling point. That in a way, this might be the best time. Like, let him come up and struggle this year because this year is the year that is lost. Like, that actually is a really compelling argument, and you're hoping that 2026 isn't going to be the case. We'll move on from Basayo in a second. Zach, what does your gut tell you about what this looks like in 2026 and 2027? With he and Adley Rutschman here? Is it a true timeshare? Is it a Adley's the catcher for 100 games? Like, what do you think this ends up looking like in the coming years?
So I don't like 2 catchers hitting in the same lineup all the time. I was a catcher myself. I know how easy it is to take a foul ball off the thumb or a 2-seamer run more than you expect, and all of a sudden you got a sprained thumb or a foul ball, and you got a concussion like we saw with Adley. Catchers get beat to crap. And if you got Basayo at first base one night and you got Adley behind the plate and Adley, takes a foul ball off the finger or something like that and he's got to come out, and then, God forbid if Basayo takes a foul ball and has a concussion in the same game, like, what are you doing? Now you have nothing. And it's always scared me. I mean, if you're going to do it, one of them needs to move positions and you still need another backup. Long term, I think Hanley could be a backup catcher in the big leagues. For what he does defensively. He's going to hit eventually. I mean, he's only had 40 at-bats. But having just those 2 guys on the roster scares me. And they tried it with McCann and stuff. And, James, that one day when he got hit in the face, he had to stay in the game. He knew he had to stay in the game. Like, you're not going to find too many people that are ever going to do that again. Mm-hmm. They need to figure out long-term who's moving to first or who's moving to DH, full time, or can you afford to carry 3 catchers? Because anything could happen.
Or you
don't want 2 high-profile bats to be missing.
Or you got to find that a Josh Gaddis type super utility, right? Or Josh Reddick, not Gaddis.
Right?
Yeah, Josh. Or was Evan Gaddis a super utility guy too? Did I make it both? Did I somehow combine both?
He did,
guys?
I think.
Yeah, like
I think he eventually stayed behind the plate as he got a little bit heavier, but for a while he played a lot of positions.
Like that, you need to find that type of guy that can have value, could also sort of be your third catcher on the roster. Zach, what's going on? Speaking of Zach's, what's going on with Zach Eflin?
Well, I was getting ready to look today. I'm eventually going to start diving into the video. I don't know if he's still hurt or what, but he's he's having a rough June. It's what, like almost a 7.5 ERA right now in June, 4 starts.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough. Just seems like he's just leaving the ball over the plate. The velocity seems like it's okay. He doesn't look like he's kind of shrugging anything around. He's just leaving the ball in the middle of the plate.
I like, it's terrifying because either one of two things was going to happen. Either you're going to try to sign Zach Eflin, and nobody thought they were. He was supposed to be your prize trade chip going to the deadline, and my God, this is brutal, and I can't figure out what the story is there. And the Orioles, the trade-off is that Charlie Morton has actually been great, which is wild. But any bizarro world in which they are going to make a run, it can't happen without Zach Eflin being something similar to what we had seen from Zach Eflin since going back to last year.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of stock into him as being the guy this year, knowing that Grayson wasn't there, and it's just not panning out. I don't know if he's still dealing with some soreness or whatever he's got, but I mean, if they got to shut him down for a couple of days, do it. But I mean, right now, when you look at his last 5 starts, who would even give up something decent for that in trade?
I'm looking at the June numbers are the opponents are hitting 376 against Zach Eflin.
Right.
376, 194 WHIP, and a 7.40 ERA in June. That is grotesque. That is
you might get a single A guy for that just because of his name.
Yeah, maybe, right. Like somebody would say, sure, I'll give you something to take a shot on him, but my God, that is brutal when you look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask the same question. I know that we were just sort of, when it comes to Cedric, every time he has a stretch like this, you almost sort of know that he's going to have 3 weeks where he's going to carry you again.
Yeah.
But I'm more and more convinced that it kind of doesn't matter. Even if the Orioles were to be, somehow win 12 of their next 15 games, my gut tells me at this point that anyone that is willing to deal something for Cedric Mullins, that this is the Austin Hayes thing from a year ago, that they're moving on from him at the deadline kind of no matter what.
I think so too. I think they really want to see what they can get out of Bradfield. Of course, Bradfield goes down hurt again yesterday too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have enough where they feel comfortable moving him. Even if this year is a throw year, see what you get out of Judd Fabian. If you don't move him, if Bradfield comes back, maybe he makes that jump. Beavers, I don't think Beavers really plays a whole lot of center field, but I mean, he can play left field, right field, and let Calzer run it for the rest of the year. There's plenty of teams that could use Cedric Mullins' services for a halfway decent guy. I'm kind of over the whole prospect thing. I think we need to move past that stage, but you also need to find some arms that are going to stock your farm system for a couple of years. Because I mean, it's every time we get a Samuel Basallo highlight, it's he hits a home run, but they're down 12-3 in the third inning.
Right. No, there's just not. They don't have it. The pitching is not there. It hasn't been there. It's why.
Right.
The unwillingness to spend big money on pitching, it falls flat. The argument, well, it's too volatile. The alternative is you don't have any. That's the option. Right. It's either you risk and spend money on volatile pitching, or you just go in and have none because it's not coming. It ain't here. You cannot solve the problem internally moving forward.
They have a lot of decent arms, and it's as soon as they start to put together a really good stretch, you get that alert that, so-and-so's got forearm tightness.
Yeah.
And then, we don't see him for 2 years.
Yeah. That's baseball, right? That's just sort of baseball and kind of what it is, and I get it. And even the arms that seem like they're decent are guys that you can project as back end of the rotation types. They have guys who if everything works out, they could be Dean Kramer at the major league level. And that's swell, but they need a lot better than that, and they simply don't have it. It's not coming, and that's kind of part of the problem with all of this. So other than all that, everything's good, right?
Do you think they kind of realize that and they go maybe because they have 6 picks in top 100 this year?
Oh, I mean, we've said
a lot of college
haven't we said this the last couple of years though? This is going to finally be the year where they take a college arm with their top pick. They're finally going to do it and try to line it up. Yeah, I mean, is it 3 in the top 40? Is that where they are at this point?
Something like that, yeah.
It would be badass Like, it would be theater of the absurd if somehow they don't use a single one of their top 40 picks on a pitcher that might be a little bit closer than, some of these other pitchers have been. But
Yeah.
trying to make sense of it, trying to when they keep doing the same thing over and over again, sometimes you almost just kind of have to assume this is what they do. I'm just befuddled and lost about what the strategy is for ultimately having pitching. What is it?
They
Griffin?
have 19, 30, and 31.
Yeah, 19, 30, and 31. Yeah, 3 picks in the
Yeah.
top 40. So I guess 3 picks in the top 35 if you want to round and say it that way. Yeah, I mean, go get. How do the mock drafts react to Gage Wood throwing a no hitter? Like, is he now suddenly like in the top 15?
Top 15, right?
I don't know how this goes. What else is on your radar, Zach? What are you going to be up to this week?
This week?
Yeah, what kind of content are you making?
I'm gonna dive into Eflin and figure out what's going on. Same with Sagano. He's not doing as bad as Eflin, but
No.
you can tell his legs are getting a little. And they even skipped a start, and he still looks tired. So I don't know. Gonna dive into some of that stuff and just see what they got going on, and then I always stay with the hitting. The hitting has just been. Oh man, it's
Meh.
It's
Yeah,
weird
it's just
with this hitting
meh,
team.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
just meh with no power. Like
When they shut off, they shut off.
there's nothing
bad.
there's nothing that can make up for it. There's no constant that like you can just count on and say this is going to come through for you and that can kind of get everything going again. Like it's just
Right.
We had this conversation earlier like okay, Ryan O'Hearn would be the MVP of the team. Who would be second at the moment? Like I guess it would be Jackson just because he's
I
been
guess it would probably be Gunner, but like Gunner's not driving the ball. Everything
not at
he's
all.
doing is all singles.
correct. Like that's the way that it works. Remind everybody where they're finding. Go ahead.
So my honest opinion would probably be Ramon Urias.
Wow.
He's just been Mr. Reliable out
Sort
there.
of steady, yeah. I get. Well, he had a rough week last week, but yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
I
but
totally
that's
get it.
baseball.
All right, remind everybody how they can find you.
Pretty much everything. X, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. It's all Pigtown Sports.
Love it, man. Always appreciate you, brother. Let's talk again real soon. Thanks for doing it. It's
All right, have a good one, guys.
Zach Moore, Pigtown Sports with us here on GCR. It sounds like I'm almost like depressed. I'm not. I have not judged this on do I believe the Orioles can still get into the playoffs. I gave up on that some time ago. But I can live with the Orioles aren't going to make the playoffs. It's the things that you want to see between them that give you hope for the path forward. You wanted to see Gunnar and Adley be Gunnar and Adley again. Well, you're not even going to see Adley until mid-July. And, you're seeing this other version of Gunnar that, like, isn't a bad baseball player, but is kind of only a so-so defender. Like, he's okay. He makes the plays he should make, but when it requires something exceptional, little things, right? Like the throw yesterday. Like, that's not an incredibly difficult play for a major league player to make. Why can't that throw be online? Why is it over to the first base side and causing your unathletic catcher to have to dive across the bag and almost got him? Like, you have that to me is where you want to see Gunnar Henderson, game changer, difference maker. And instead you're getting Gunnar Henderson, solid ball player. Kind of Jordan Westberg. Then you get really excited about watching Jordan Westberg play, and you're like, oh, great, Jordan Westberg. Only for him to get hurt again, too. That's the kind of depressing part. The wins and losses. If the Orioles scored 8 runs, but Dean Kramer got beat around, you could be like, all right, well, Dean Kramer's not really part of the long-term solution, or he shouldn't be. Anyway, we're not taking a break, obviously. He's got to wrap up. Jeremy's got to go early today, so we got to call him. it's like the stuff, bully for Charlie Morton looking like a pitcher. You feel good that Charlie Morton looks like a pitcher. But what is that doing for you? How's that really helping you long term? In that way, like, the positives are just kind of minimal. Tickets are on sale for the Maryland 5-Star. MarylandFivestar.us with the number 5 is the website. It's back in October at Fair Hill up in Cecil County. One of the best events of the year, the Triple Crown of Equestrian, as well as everything that surrounds it, the Food and Wine Festival, great shopping, the Corgi Cup. It's all there for you. Maryland 5-Star with the number 5.us in order to get your tickets. This man, we all associate him with basketball, so we know last night he was glued to his TV for Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Let's break it all down right now with our guy, Jeremy Conn. Jeremy, let's go back to that play in the second quarter. You obviously know the one that I'm talking about. What do you think happened there, and how did it turn the game?
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Mumford was the star of this game. Like, the way that this guy performed in just some of the biggest moments brought tears to my eyes.
Really.
So that's who I'm going with. Yeah, I didn't watch a single play of that game. I did, however, I was on my phone just getting updates.
Yeah.
But, and that's only because I had the under as my favorite play of the day.
Well, there you go.
It worked out.
Jeremy and I went to see Mumford and Sons, not together last night, although we did spend some time together. He did. I came out.
It's a very intimate time in the pool that they have there. So nice.
Am I an idiot? Okay, can I ask this question of you? Yeah, have you ever been somewhere where they like brought the Super Bowl trophy by, or like I'll give you an example. The night the Ravens got their rings the last time, I was still semi-covering the Ravens at that point for the old radio station that doesn't exist anymore. And I was there, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody handed me their ring and said, "Why don't you put it on?" And I was like, "I didn't win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to do that." And then I remember telling somebody afterwards that, and they were like, "What's wrong with you? Like, you had the chance to put on a Super Bowl ring. Why didn't you do it?" And I remember, like, Drew and I had this whole conversation because he was offered one day, I guess they invited everybody over, you could hold the trophy, right?
We had that at the radio station where they made you wear your white Michael Jackson
gloves, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "I didn't win the Super Bowl. Why am I going to hold, like, what the hell does that have to do with me?" And I was like, yeah, it's the way that I felt with the ring. I was at the All Time Low show last summer when they headlined Merriweather, and like, everybody talks about the backstage pool at Merriweather and what a big deal it is to get in the pool. And Zach was like, "Dude, why don't you get in the pool? Like, that's the thing here." And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not in all time. I didn't, like, accomplish anything. I'm not headlining Merriweather. Like,
did you ever get in the pool at the Bob out in Arizona?
Yeah, we did do that. But that's for the great unwashed. Like, that's for anybody. Like,
okay. No. I'm kind of curious, like if it's a pool thing or if it's just something different.
It's like I kissed the bricks once at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway because we were there for the.
Did you win?
And that's exactly. Did you go to the media party in Indianapolis for that Super Bowl?
No, because they left me behind and Scott went.
Ah, okay. So we were there. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. That's the year that my nickname became Jerry Love because of Dwayne Bowe. Because every time Scott would throw a question back to me, it was right around Valentine's Day, and I was doing Valentine's Day reads.
Okay.
And then, of course, he goes to Dwayne Bowe, and he goes, "Hey, let's throw it back to Jeremy." And then Dwayne Bowe would go, "Hey, what's up, Jerry?" And I'm like, "Okay," every time. "What's up, Jerry?" And then it became Jerry Love, and that's how that whole thing took off.
Oh,
anyway,
my God, that's pretty great. I didn't realize that was the story. I had no idea that was the story. Yeah. So they did the media party at the Speedway, right? Like, and it was fine, and, you go because we're all nerds. We don't have anything else to do. So we go. And then they're like, "Oh, you can go over and kiss the bricks." And I, like, did it. And then I said, "Why did I do that? Like, what?" I didn't.
Nostalgic, I guess.
I
just
guess.
To say you did it.
But that's
it's
the
like
thing.
if you had a samurai sword and you ran into Randy Jackson, you're not going to not get him.
That's a great point.
Right?
You're not going to not get Randy Jackson's autograph. Everybody does agree with that. I had that, like, a week after the All Time Low show last summer. I was talking about it with somebody. They're like, "Why didn't you get in the pool?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I feel like that's for you do that if you've accomplished something. Like, if you." Here's the reward. You got to headline Merriweather, so you get to get in the pool. I was just a hanger-on. Like, that's all I was. Why am I getting it? I don't feel like I should be rewarded for that. And that's sort of the way that I feel with the trophies. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I always feel like white trash. So I don't feel like I should be rewarded with anything. So I guess that's how that plays out for me. But by the way, Merriweather is also in Maryland, right?
that is true. That is a
If you
good
listen
point.
to any of the British artists that
Yes,
come
they
over.
all
So.
say Maryland. They all
Did
it's.
Did you like Good Neighbors last night?
I did enjoy Good Neighbors. I know you're a big fan. I enjoyed them.
I'm in love with those.
I
guys,
only
man.
knew
yeah.
the one song, the Daisy song. That was the only one that I knew. But I liked them. They were very good. And then what about the weird bit where the guy was dressed like for gym class when he played, and then came back out for Mumford and Sons in like a bowling shirt, like he was an old Irish tough. Like
I'm just wondering if that's like his thing, like almost going like he's the British version of Macklemore that doesn't rap, like he's just going thrift shopping everywhere. Because when we saw him in Ireland, when we saw Good Neighbors in Ireland, because like it's mainly made up of the tall guitar player and him, and then the other guy, like they're the ones that write the music. But it's kind of cool though. Like he was wearing mismatching colors there, and then he ran out and hung out with everybody when the Lumineers were on.
that's cool.
So
That's cool.
it's just, I don't know. It felt like a vibe, man. And I just had a good time watching.
I
them
was
dancing.
worried that like Mumford and Sons had a dress code. Like you can come sing a song with us, but you can't
Well,
wear your gym clothes out.
He was
to
actually
sing.
changing the oil on their bus, so he's doing double duty.
He's just. I mean, it's good work if you can get it, right? Like, here's the deal: you get to open for Mumford and Sons, but you also have to be the tour mechanic. Like,
Well, it sounds like we're going to be concert boyfriends moving forward now.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like-
we're gonna do the trade off, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You'll
I have a hookup at one place, you have one at another place, and
We're-
it's like, why don't we become friends?
we're done. Yeah. Did we just become best friends? We're gonna do activities.
Yep.
We're gonna make bunk beds so we have more room for
We're going to push the beds together so we have more room.
for
Yeah,
activities. I'm looking
that's
forward to
two
that.
Step Brothers.
Yeah, right. In
references so far.
one segment, that's not bad. I really don't have a take either about the NBA Finals because like it's a bummer that Halliburton got hurt. It's a huge bummer. It doesn't mean the Thunder
What do you
didn't.
think about the three people that tore their Achilles all wore number 0?
Oh, is that? I didn't even do that math. Holy crap!
Jason Tatum,
right?
Damian
Yeah.
Lillard,
Wow.
and of course Halliburton.
I'm in favor of not. Like I always hate it when I find out somebody's wearing 0. Like, come on, man. Like you're. Why? Why are you wearing 0? Right? Like
Russell
what?
Westbrook wore it, and then it kind of became popular amongst some of these guys.
Yes, man. I don't care for 0.
And Gilbert Arenas, well, he was Agent 0, right?
I guess the scary part about the Thunder is like they're not losing anybody. Like they have all of
No,
this.
So,
They get to hold on
so
to
they
all
have
of
the
it.
weird decision to make, right? Because they have all the draft capital.
Yep.
They have young star players. They can package something and go get a player similar to Giannis. Could they? You know, if any team could make a trade. You know how we talked about the Orioles, how they had the best farm system, and they could possibly go out and get whatever they want if they were willing to give up pieces. That's the Thunder.
Mhm.
They have so many first-round picks. They have so many unprotected first-round picks.
Yep.
It's absurd. It's like every trade they've made has worked out.
I think I
and
saw
now,
the-
you know, we didn't talk about it, but Kevin Durant went to the Rockets,
Right.
and now the Rockets have traded for everyone from the Big Three from Oklahoma City.
That's pretty funny. I hadn't even thought
Yeah.
about that. That's true. They have gotten all 3 of them. Well,
Yep.
you know, like midway through the year, I thought if the Thunder fell short in the playoffs, that would be the Durant destination, right? Like that it would be the weird LeBron thing, not quite the exact same thing because it's not his hometown, but he wouldn't be clowned the way that he was clowned for going to Golden State because it would be like a full circle moment for him to try to come back
coming back home
and
essentially.
deliver Oklahoma City. So I thought that would be the destination. Obviously, they got the job done, and he ends up going somewhere else. And I don't think this makes a difference for Houston. Like I maybe this is me jaded because I'm a Suns fan and I've watched this for the last couple of years, but I think it's expiring the ability for Kevin Durant to carry a team. And if he's not carrying a team,
So hear me out on this though, because like, all right, so if I could take both sides of this and give you a reason why it was a great trade and why it was a terrible trade, which is why like I'm so confused with the whole thing. Because there is the chance that you trade for Kevin Durant and now pairing him with Amen Thompson, Alperen Sengun. Yeah, I mean, you just name it. That starting 5, Fred VanVleet. So that starting 5 is really good. But herein lies the rub when you trade for these big time celebrities or like athletes that everybody knows, these superstars. And let's face it, they are towards the back end of their career, so you don't know when they're going to hit the wall or when injuries are going to happen. But in doing that, do you stunt the growth of Amen? Do you stunt the growth of Alperen Sengun? Does does KD not fit in like he hasn't fit in anywhere he went?
And to your point, like I don't feel nearly as good about Devin Booker in 2025 as I did 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least the Suns have 7 shooting guards now, so that's good.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Overcorrect. I mean, 2 years ago they didn't have a single player that could make a three. They didn't have one guy on the roster that could make a three.
Well, they're going to buy out Bradley Beal, I think, and just send him packing. And one of the funniest things that happened was there was a report that there was a fight in the Suns locker room, and as I'm going back and forth through this, like the article, Kevin Durant said, that's BS. We had a lot of issues. There was never any fight in the locker room. To which Boogie Cousins then responded, like, hey, man, I hear different things. So you can go out there and tell everybody what you want to tell. I hear different things. And then I start doing the math, and I'm like, Boogie went to Kentucky. Who on the Suns went to Kentucky? Oh, that's Devin Booker, was primarily. Like, in my estimation, he probably got some good information, and that's where the story came from.
Okay. That's so random, dude. That is so random.
Durant responds to everything. You say something negative about him, it's like
true. He's right on it, right? Like he's all over that. That is his legacy. Like that's where he's the go. He's just jumping into the fray, man. Like he's gonna do that. I really don't have anything else to say about the fight. Like that. I wish I was compelled. I thought it was an entertaining series. I really did. But ultimately, it's just sort of what it is, and I bully for the Thunder, and they're scary, man. Like it's scary that they can be really good. Is it a weird bit that SGA has been able to do this, only sort of shooting mid-range jumpers and going to the free throw line? Yeah, but they built a team around him that's so good that like you can't just collapse on him because he's going to kick it out and Jalen Williams is going to make the shot. Like dude, like Sam Presti, I think deserves an ungodly amount of credit for what he's been able to build there.
I mean, it's so impressive when you think about it because, like, he's hit on everything. Like, and here's the funny thing. So when we have these trades in the moment, you're like, oh, my God, I can't believe they traded Paul George.
Yeah.
And now, like, I remember what everybody said. Remember when Ron Artest went to the Lakers and everybody thought it was an absolute cheat code? And then they finally won one. But it's like, oh, my God, I can't believe they got him, and Kobe's going to get him right. They do this all the time where somebody gets added to a team, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, what are they going to look like? And then now with these superstars, we're seeing guys pair up and try to get things done. But it is – I'm assuming we're going to get tired of the Thunder in the next few years. But it's it's a really fun thing to see
I agree.
What the Warriors put together and now what the Thunder put together and what it could be.
I agree with that. And it's not just here's big market. That's where when everybody complains about market size, I'm like, this is what I like. It's something new. It's a different story. You're getting to know different guys. I'm all for all of that. Where are you at with the Basayo conversation today?
I mean, I just want to see him. Like, it's I'm part of me wonders, are they playing the game like, okay, he's just got to get his time in the minor leagues, and then they bring him up, and it's going to filter in and be the right way, and he'll have a shot to win Rookie of the Year. But, like, the other part of me is like, it's just been too long. Like, you know it when you see it. It's like, just bring the guy up. And I don't even care if he fails his first time around because we've seen so many of these superstars do it. But what happens if he's just legit and he comes up and as soon as you call him up, he just starts hitting?
Well, the argument it's
because
funny.
Right now he's hitting home runs at a higher rate than Aaron Judge.
Right, correct. Or Babe Ruth, right? Now, and I get it. Like
Baby Ruth?
That wimpy deer. Babe Ruth. Dude, the number of times, I don't know why it is. We get together with a couple that we've been friends with forever every year on the 4th of July. And for some reason, their son always comes up to me and is like, Baby Ruth, and asks me to yell back, that wimpy deer. We've been doing it for his entire life.
It'll never get old. You'll be on your deathbed.
Right?
He'll be yelling at
Come
you.
back.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird place because I get it. Like, he hasn't caught a ton. There was an argument that was just made by our friend Zach Moore. He said, is it maybe better now because this season's probably going to be a wash, and this season – so somebody would argue, hey, you can't waste service time on a year that's going to be a wash. And I hate that conversation, but I also know it's real. Like, I understand the argument of, hey, you don't want to waste any of this guy's service time on a year where you're not going to win anything. But his point was really interesting, which was maybe there's an argument it's better now because if there's going to be an acclimation period and if he's going to struggle for a while, you'd rather it now when you know you're not winning a World Series anyway than in 2026 when you hope that you will. And I was like, that actually makes a ton of sense. That actually like strengthens the argument to me for why it might be time.
See, and the thing that gets frustrating to me is, and I understand they're a bit in what I like to call baseball purgatory. Like, are they making a run at it? I mean, you're the 5.5, 6 games out. It's still attainable to get there. You're going to play all the teams you need, but we can't watch series where you give it up late to the Yankees or you blow an 8-run lead to the Rays.
Let's just be honest, they're not very good. Like,
so
they're in it because the American League isn't very good. The Orioles aren't particularly good. They have deeper problem. They can't hit home runs. Oh, God, I long for the day when we complained about all they did was they hit home runs. They can't hit any anymore.
Now they can't even get them to leave the yard. But the other thing with this is, like, and I'm kind of in agreement with you. Like, I'm not sure they're going to make that run. And even if they do, do we have visions of grandeur? It's like,
right.
Do we see Kyle Bradish and Grayson come back and look like they did? Do they make a move at the trade deadline to add another frontline starter? Like, would they do that? When ultimately, I think there might be some sort of combination of them moving on from Cedric Mullins just because it makes sense. You can't tell me there's not another team that wouldn't want a guy that plays center the way that he does. And then on top of it, like, I want to see Kobe Mayo. So after he had his best weekend ever, it's like, hey, have 2 days off. And it's and even with Manzolino going, hey, we're out here to win games, and we thought this gave us the best. Mountcastle's hurt. Put his ass at first base and see what he can do.
Right.
Like, I'm tired. Like, because we have, like, right now, people are like, you got to trade Kierstead. Well, if you trade him, you're trading low. And I don't want to trade
trading
low
for pennies on the dollar. Right. Correct.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with that with Mayo, and now it's the same thing with Mountcastle. Why do we wait until they fall apart to say, hey, now you got to trade them, and then you can't, or you get nothing back for them? So
I'm with you, and I would like to see a extended look at Kobe Mayo as well. I think that's well deserved. And look, I do think they're going to move all of their pending free agents, and I think Mullins, they could win 13 of their next 16 games, and I still think they'd be trading Cedric Mullins. I think this is just the Austin Hayes thing from last year. That they're not signing Cedric Mullins, they're moving on, they're taking what they can get for him at the deadline, and that's the way that it's going to go no matter what. So I'm with you there. All right, I know you got a thing to do. What's on your docket for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on fire. So in baseball, I think I just went, 14-4 over the weekend.
When we were at the Mumford & Sons show last night, some gentleman just came over to thank Jeremy for all of the money that he had made him this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a really good weekend. He bought me a drink, and he's like, hey, man, I just have to bring you something. And I was 4-0 at that point yesterday, and then I hit the under in the NBA championship. So, yeah, I'm over doing stuff with pickdogs.com. There's a YouTube podcast I do on the daily. And that's actually where I'm going right now is I got this meeting with these guys. I'm jumping on one of their shows. So
excellent.
But, yeah, it's been good.
J-Con Sports, Concrete. Are we still doing ConcreteLocks.com?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can still go there.
Right.
Eventually the paywall is going to come down, and then I'm just going to have them sell my picks, and I'll just keep the guys that were there kind of grandfathered in.
Excellent. And, of course, Big Bad Morning Show, 105.7 The Fan. Love you, buddy. We'll talk
that
next
too.
month. Yeah, that's still a thing. We'll talk to you next Monday. Thanks, pal.
Sounds good, man. I'll see you.
Bud. Jeremy Conn with us here on GCR a little bit earlier than usual on a Monday. We'll come back in. We will go 3 up and 3 down for a 3-4 week of Orioles baseball. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Calling all athletes and families, don't miss Football versus Football, a free sports and wellness festival Saturday, July 19th from 10 to 6 at Baltimore Peninsula. Meet retired Ravens, other former NFL stars, and pro soccer players. Join youth sports clinics, get free health screenings, and enjoy food, music, and family fun. Powered by United Healthcare, presented by Sports Legacy Group, and supported by University of Maryland Orthopedics and 1-800-GAMBLER.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th, and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smoke profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Really interesting piece today in the Baltimore Banner from, I do think it's better, Griffin. Yeah, I think so. From Danielle Allentuck. The headline, the Orioles can feel like the away team at Camden Yards. A new team exec is trying to change that. And it's about Mark Fine, who was hired as chief marketing officer or earlier this year by the Baltimore Orioles, and how he's kind of overseen as his first major project, trying to overhaul the game day experience at Camden Yards. And it's a really interesting, I don't know, everything about it is kind of interesting. But it starts with this positioning that, like, the Orioles can feel like the away team at Camden Yards. And, like, once upon a time, I think that was overwhelmingly true. In recent years, I think that's exaggerated. Like, I think there's certainly, in the piece, it talks about how many fans of the Phillies showed up last. I do think there were a lot of, I was there for the Friday night game. It was a lot of Phillies fans, but it wasn't, the Orioles didn't feel like the away team. It felt
like those Yankees games.
Yeah, it felt more like a high school football game where there were, like, a lot of fans of both teams there. And I'm not trying to suggest that, like, that's
right. Or
yeah, like, in a perfect world, the Orioles are so good and the tickets are so hot that it's impossible for anybody to get a ticket, but, like, that's going to happen. Like, Philadelphia is geographically really close. The Phillies are, very hot at the moment with Bryce Harper, and they've been very watchable, and they're not far removed from making a World Series, and there's a lot of excitement there. It's sort of like why it was that for a while, if the Ravens had been playing in D.C., it was easy for there to be 60,000 Ravens fans in D.C. But last year we were all caught off guard by how many Commanders fans were in Baltimore. It was because the Commanders had been moribund for forever, but last year they had something to be excited about, and all these people that had, like, not even gone to home games suddenly have, like, discretionary money they haven't spent on going to football games, and they're like, hell yeah, let's go anywhere. And the one that's right up the road, and it's Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. We want to be there. They're willing to spend a little bit more money than Ravens fans who have been, like, through the ringer with regular season games for a while. Like, yeah, we're willing to sell this. If you want to spend big money on this ticket, great. We want to put it towards the Super Bowl. It's a weird spot to be in. I don't think the Phillies thing from last year, which to me was just an electric atmosphere, like it was one of the more incredible atmospheres I had seen, is a standard by which decisions should be made. Like, I think you can improve the game day experience, but you're still going to get the same thing. When do they play the Phillies this year? I don't even know.
When do we play the Phillies?
I haven't bothered to look at the schedule to get this answer.
Phillies. We do, but
Really?
that can't be right.
No, that doesn't. I
Did we
thought
already
they
play them? What?
did they? Did I just? Am I? Hang on a second.
They were home here last year. We hosted them last year, so it has to be on the road, right?
You would think.
I don't. Oh, there we go. August 4th through 6th.
Okay.
First week of August. Monday. It's a Monday through Wednesday.
That's right. I actually thought about taking my son up because he keeps asking to go to a road game.
At Philly, yes.
So, like, if the roles were reversed, if the Orioles were the team we thought they were going to be, or they should have been becoming, and then there would be a ton of Orioles fans up in Philadelphia for that series. The point that I'm attempting to make, not so elegantly or eloquently. Oh God, what am I doing? I gotta look into different.
You could have said elegant.
I guess, but not. That wasn't what I was trying to say. I gotta look into a different line of work, dog. You guys need somebody to like
Elegant.
chop up some wood or something. That might be more up my.
I mean, they're both.
Yeah, but I meant one. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think that's a good standard by which to make these decisions. Now, did the game day experience need tinkering or changes or an overhaul? I don't know.
Got live hot dog races now.
Like, this is the weird. Even within the piece, Danielle Allen talks to some people who are like, "Yeah, I kind of like the video hot dog race better." And I'll be honest with you, like my buddy that was in town a couple weeks ago that has gone to Orioles games all his entire life, but he lives up in Brooklyn, so he hadn't been since they had switched to live hot dog races. Was like, "What the hell? What is this?" I don't know.
I think when it was once, once a home that felt different.
I think like if they were doing more things with the hot dog races, like if there were more, tonight it's a group of alumni players, tomorrow night it's the members of the band Coldplay.
He was like, "Let me be a hot dog one time."
Well, I think a lot of people if there was more of that, and like the problem is now everyone's an influencer, so it's like really hard. But like maybe on, on this week is Pride Night, and if it was like 3 particular, gay baseball influencers of some sort, like if there were more themes to the live hot dog races, like maybe I don't know if that one's registering with me the same way. And to your point, like should it be just a Sunday thing or just a I don't know.
And if the Nats are here on a Wednesday, you bring the presidents up and then
race them against the hot dogs or something like that. Like there could be some fun with that, I guess.
I don't know why. Yeah, it hasn't caught on though. The way.
I think it was like an anomaly, but then we just realized that was all it was an anomaly. Like we're not actually invested in there being people in hot dog suits. And maybe part of it was almost the Disney effect. A lot of people talk about how certain Disney movies haven't done, like the Captain Marvel series has not done as well as some others. And so they think that makes it a bomb, right? Like this is failure. This is because they don't see how those characters perform in front of like females that want to meet them on Disney cruises or at Disney parks or something like that. And the value that comes beyond just the movie. And it might very well be that the Orioles are thinking to themselves, like, we can do this hot dog race thing, and then we could start sending the racing hot dogs out in town, and people will pay money and have a connection with the racing hot dogs or something like that. There might be a vision that goes beyond just whether or not the thing is hitting at the ballpark. I don't know. The biggest problem, and as noted throughout Danielle Allentuck's piece, is that the sound system is dreadful. That's supposed to be fixed before next year. And that will go a long way, a dramatically long way to improving the game day experience. The single biggest issue that the Orioles have faced within game day experience has been the ungodly awful sound system. It's wretched to the point where if you're sitting in some places, you don't even feel like you're at the game. bringing in the in-game hosts has almost felt kind of pointless because, for the most part, you're not hearing what they're doing. I also don't think there's been like a lot of it. It felt sort of like you could just have Adrian read some of the stuff that the in-game hosts have read because they're just kind of commercials. There's not really a lot of interaction there that makes it wacky, fun content. And I think that's sort of what that role is supposed to be and how it works. But I just don't think they've had enough of that. I don't know, man. Like, I'm in a weird place with this because
I mean, it's good that they're aware. Like,
but
that it could be better.
But I think that's the part that I'm struggling with. Is the game day experience really a problem? They base this off of, again, this is from the Baltimore Banner. The last June, during a weekend series against the Phillies, a secret shopper from MLB came to Oriole Park at Camden Yards to rank the stadium. As it often is when popular teams such as Philadelphia, New York, are in town, the stadium is overrun by fans of the opponent. The secret shopper noted the atmosphere and that, along with the in-game entertainment that didn't engage the crowd and the poor sound system that made it impossible for those who wanted to follow along to do so, went into the ranking. The result, a failing grade. Of all 30 teams, the Orioles are ranked in the bottom 5 for in-game entertainment, a source with direct knowledge told the Baltimore Banner. And this is where if you're basing it on the fact that there are a lot of Phillies fans there, you can improve everything you want about the game day presentation. There's going to be a boatload of Phillies fans in the same situation every time. That's not going to change the percentage of, let's say it was 55-45 last year. And I don't even know that it was. There were a lot of Phillies fans there, but it might really have only been 30 to 40% Phillies fans. But let's just be charitable and say it was 55-45. The exact same scenario with a different game day presentation, you're going to get 55-45. Nothing is going to change that. That's not the thing. Which doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do it as best you can. And the sound system unquestionably is the one. There's no doubt about that. Anyone who has been to a game knows the biggest problem in the game day presentation is the sound system. But tinkering for the sake of tinkering, I think a lot of people that know Woody, the longtime DJ for the Orioles and Ravens, was let go by the Orioles earlier this year. Someone I've known for a long time, good guy. When Drew and I would come to games, he would particularly throw in songs for us as a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Always liked Woody. And he's quoted in this piece. They didn't know what he says they were on top of him about what type of music to play. It became suffocating for him to try to do the job because everybody had their own opinion. We should be paying.
So is this something that came with the new
ownership? Maybe. I don't know. But, that's not good either.
Yeah.
And I think that this is paralysis. I remember working for a radio station in Phoenix, a sports station, where I had 2 jobs. I had to host on middays, and then I had to be the update anchor for the afternoon show. And as part of update anchor duties, I would also help with them in production. And on that show, I remember the host of the show was obsessed with the music beds that they played. And I always remembered Bruce Cunningham is like this, and I always remembered saying, you're going to fail. You're obsessed with the wrong part of the show. The music bed plays for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Then you need to do a show. And this isn't a shot at Bruce Cunningham, who loves his music. It's just who he is. You've got to do a show. The show is the part that's going to make or break whether people listen. You just want to be a DJ. You wanted to be a music DJ, and instead you're doing sports, so you're trying to make up for it. And sometimes we get lost in this. The music ain't the reason why someone's choosing to go to an Orioles game or not. It's just not. It never will be. Although I'll tell you that a couple of times in the past, and it's happened, where they tinkered with the 7th inning and not playing Thank God I'm a Country Boy. The moment they do that, oh, man, this was a thing in mid 2000, the mid
okay,
aughts.
Okay, so this isn't recent.
Dude, they tinkered with it for a while. Like, do we mess with? And people were pissed, and they should be. Like, this is the thing that it's
the one thing that
you're at an Orioles game because this happens, and then people that never been before are like, why does this make sense? You're not from the country. We're in the middle of one of the most urban areas. Why in the hell do you play Thank God? And you can't explain it. It makes no sense that that's the song that's Baltimore's 7th-inning stretch song. But we've known it for forever, and we know every word, and we sing along to it every time, and everybody stands up and claps. Don't mess with it. It works. But to the point, outside of that, the music has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to a game, which doesn't mean you don't try to have.
Saying woo woo for Connor's.
Well, I mean, yeah, the things like the Sweet Escape. Yeah, everybody enjoys the woo, woo, but that's not the guys pick their songs. Somebody asked me this recently, what would be your walk-up song, and I was like, dude, it's the easiest question of all time. It's obviously the thong song. Like, you celebrate your people. This was Baltimore's greatest ever contribution to music. Number 1 thong song, number 2 the national anthem. Actually, if we're being honest, the national anthem doesn't slap at all. It's much further down the list. No, it'd be way further. I'm saying Baltimore's greatest contributions to music. Number 1 is thong song. I'd say in terms of relevance, number 1 is thong song, number 2 is the national anthem. In terms of quality, number 1 is thong song, number 175 is the national anthem. It's just not a bop. It doesn't slap, man. It's not. Wow. It's not a great song.
I don't know about that.
It doesn't. We have to be able to
might
I love this country and all, but it just doesn't slap, man. It's not. It ain't it, Chief. But the point of all of this is, I think we get lost in this stuff. You want to improve the game day experience? Win.
Yeah.
Win. And again, I get the argument can be you should try to do both. Like, you try to both win and have a better game day experience. I understand, but one begats the other. This isn't a chicken and the egg debate. This is a chicken and the egg. There's no debate. What came first here? Winning begats game day experience, because then it creates memories that you associate with winning. To be fair, like the Go Cubs Go thing in Chicago dates back to a time where the Cubs didn't win at all, right? But it became a tradition anyway. So there are things that can become tradition. Chicago's probably the wrong example, because the whole Cubs thing is it's like its own entity. The team stunk. People went anyway because the games are in the afternoon. It was like this weird, we'll go to an afternoon baseball game. It'll be kitschy. And there were drunks watching the game from rooftops. And it was just a weird environment event that people dug and made Wrigley Field a thing. But, that's the one. Everything else, there's one thing that drives people to the ballpark. One. Well, one is people just go to the ballpark because it's the thing to do. But drives more people to the ballpark? Winning. End of list. There could be no music. There could be no presentation. There could be no soundboard. There could be no anything. Or a video board. There could be no nothing. No giveaways. If you were winning, people would come to the ballpark. That's the thing. Now, I think Mark Fine, who has a history that dates back to even briefly being at this company once upon a time years ago, Mark Fine is an incredibly accomplished professional who's been involved in a lot of different things throughout professional sports. I think Mark Fine will do a tremendous job. But I worry that there can be over-tinkering in the process. Like, they reference all the different she references all the different gimmicks the Orioles are trying, like an air drum thing, and just throwing everything at the wall and seeing if it sticks, right? Which I think is super cool for minor league baseball. Or I'll tell you, my friend Phil Rye, who used to run the Bay Sox, now is the marketing guy for Loyola. And when he arrived, I was talking to him, and he was like, they encouraged me to take some minor league concepts and bring them over here to try to get people to come out. And I was like, that makes sense, right? You don't have an inherent massive fan base, so why not try some things and see if that might be what works to get particularly students, right? And Towson does a lot of that too, to try to get students engaged and in creating an atmosphere, because when the students create an atmosphere, then people go and see it and they're like, hey, this is kind of electric, right? I want to be here for this. It's just it tends to start with the students when it comes to college sports. And maybe that is something that baseball, the splash zone, clearly worked. It's sort of your student section, right? Like, God, I wish there was one at the Mumford and Sons show last night. It was hot. It's the first time in my life I would have been willing to be in a spot. I went to Drew Forrester's son's graduation party yesterday, and congratulations, the Forresters. And Drew's wife, who I love, Jo, she sees my sons. She's very excited they're there. And she says, "Boys, I have a job for you." And they're like, "What?" She's like, "I have a bag of water balloons that need to be filled up." And I'm just like, what are you doing? And then I realized they're the only kids here. The only people they can throw the water balloons at are each other. So now they want to throw them at my wife and I. And my friend Ryan Eigenbrod, who's the SID at Loyola, was there with his son Michael. And Michael is 14, I want to say, like going into his freshman year. So they figured that they could throw him at Michael, but Michael's like, yeah, I don't really want to do that either.
Well, they throw it anyway. That's how that works.
So I then had to volunteer as tribute. Like, so they've got to throw these water balloons at somebody. So I'm gonna have to be the one. And then I'm kind of, I wouldn't have no issue with that. Although Drew's a senior citizen at this point. Like they were hurling these things in, man. They were treating these. They were like the size of grenades, just firing them in. So and then I'm like, somebody said, "Oh, this is nice of you." I'm also like, it's also 100 degrees. Like, it kind of feels nice, if I'm being honest with you. But the splash zone clearly has worked. That's been a good thing. I don't know how this atrium is going to go in the press box. Like, I don't know if that's going to...
The home... What do they call it? Dugout? Not
the home play. Whatever it's going to be, it's for elites, and that's kind of what makes it tough, is you don't really get much of an atmosphere from the elites. Mm-hmm. It might be a popular thing anyway. That type of stuff seems really smart. Hey, did the cow pasture work? That seemed like a good idea. Maybe you try to do something more with that. I think there are lots of things to do. I'm not sure that tinkering with the music is the right one. I think the truth is, at a baseball game, you can't. It is a really interesting. I'm sort of getting lost in the woods. I said we were going to do 3 up, 3 down. We will, I promise. I went to the PLL yesterday, and it was hot as hell. It was.
They did it again.
God, it was. Yeah, they found the hottest weekend of the year. Somehow that's the way that it works. But I ended up spending a lot of time chatting with some of the higher ups with the PLL. I just had a lengthy conversation about their thought process for. Do you market to your biggest audience is people that are inherently lacrosse fans? Like, that's going to make up the majority of your audience. But that's still niche. So do you market to them, or do you market to a greater audience of people that don't know anything about lacrosse?
Like a social media type.
That, and like, how do you construct the broadcast? One of the things, I watched the games on Saturday, and like noticed so Rob Pinnell broke the all-time our close personal friend Rob Pinnell broke the all-time assist record for professional outdoor lacrosse, because they can include the MLO.
Because they did have him, they had him mic'd up, and then he's like, everybody's like, "Great job, Rob." Great job. He's like, "Guys, come on, we gotta
go."
Yeah.
But then at halftime they had this like video board on the sideline, and they go have him walk over to it. They put him on, and then they show him the play and have him break it down. And it's cool, right? Like, it's a cool thing, and it's innovative, and it's the type of stuff that you should be doing. And so we were having this conversation, and they were like, we are trying to walk the fine line of introducing people to lacrosse while at the same time giving content to the audience that we know is there. Mm-hmm. And it's a very difficult thing to do. The argument for baseball is, well, you want more young people, so you should have your DJ play more techno music, EDM, play more the stuff that young people are into, play more mumble rap, play more, I guess, country music. Those are the three music that EDM and I guess bubblegum pop still kind of exists. I guess it still exists. Like, I know those people are still famous, but it just feels like that's not. Like, there's not a genre there. They just happen, like, you're either a major pop star or you don't exist. Like, you can be kind of Warren Zeiders is sort of like a so-and-so country act, right? I only bring him up because he was there at Homewood Field this weekend because he's doing the theme song for Saturday Night Lacrosse for the PLL. Like, he's not a mega star, but he's carved a nice career for himself. Like, he's relevant. You can do that in country. In pop, you're either Sabrina Carpenter or you don't exist. Like, you're Sabrina Carpenter, you're Taylor Swift, you're Olivia Rodrigo, you're Tate McRae, and then name another pop artist.
Weekend, does he pop? I don't know.
I guess he's somewhere between R&B and pop, right? Like, but you know, like, there's no middle ground. Either you're a megastar or nothing. So I'm not sure if the genre exists.
Who's gonna be next.
Right? Like, there's no up and coming. Once you hit, and then you're there, or you go away.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way that it goes. So somebody would argue you should cater to young people because you want more young people coming to the games. But does that turn off your core audience that you need? Like, if I go to a game and it's nothing but electronic music and it's loud and obnoxious, am I going to be like, yeah, I don't know, maybe baseball's not for me anymore? Yeah. And I'm spitballing too, and that's what the story from Danielle Allentuck sort of suggests. They're treating the season as a year in which they're trying to figure out what works. And, okay, I'll listen to that. But I do worry that sometimes it's tinkering for tinkering's sake, and that the real problem is your sound system stinks, and get a better sound system, and then a DJ that you trust that can play a wide variety of music that kind of covers
Like they can't
the entirety of the fan
Yeah,
base.
they can't completely abandon a classic rock, like just random classic rock.
But they're doing 98 Rock Night at the ballpark. Like, there's clearly a lot of those types of people that go to baseball games. Like, they need to do a little bit of everything. Woody was really good at that, for what it's worth.
Yeah,
like, he was really good at that. But that's a conversation for another day. I'm not trying to, they're going in their direction, and that's their direction that they're going in. I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and I can appreciate the attempts. And I think Mark Fine is really smart and really sharp at what he does, so I'm willing to listen to it. It also kind of needs to be authentic. Like, that's the part that I think gets missed. Like, the Ravens kind of forced the Seven Nation Army thing, and it worked. Like, there was no connection between Baltimore and Seven Nation Army. It was a European soccer thing that they just brought in and tried. So sometimes it's not genuine, and it works anyway.
Sometimes take your medicine.
Kinda. But, like, the bird bath was very genuine, right?
Yeah.
Like, it came from something that was happening. They recognized what was happening, and they ran with it. And I'm always in favor of that. When something's happening, run with it. The third understudy thing from run with it. They brought the girl in to sing the national anthem. That's great. Like, do that type of stuff. I feel bad that I've heard. Kayla Pecchioni, was that her name?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, actually. I was not going to remember that.
But that was smart. Well, we had her on the show. If we hadn't had her on the show, I definitely wouldn't have remembered that. But, they do that. Whenever there's something happening, run with it. Run with it. The cow pasture was a thing. Run with it. I got made fun of for the suggestion of the Burns unit, like of encouraging people to show up dressed in scrubs on days when Corbin Burns pitched. But there's nothing. I think this might be because we haven't had an ace in Baltimore. Remember how fired up we were for gas cans with Grayson Rodriguez?
Yeah.
How genuine that was? I'm going to be the first to tell you, that was stupid.
Whoa.
It was.
No.
It really made no sense. Like, yeah, I guess you can say he's a flamethrower, but he's not, Nolan Ryan. Like, he's not.
He's not this guy for the Brewers, Mizorowski.
Yeah, that guy. Holy crap, right? Like, yeah, to some extent. And the real story was the gas me up, right? Like, which could work for anybody. Like, you don't have to be Grayson Rodriguez to gas somebody up. But we ran with it anyway, and it became a rallying cry and became a thing. Run with it. Make it part of the experience as much as you possibly can.
When, the Mariners had, Felix Hernandez, they had the King's Court every
Yes!
time he pitched.
Yes! Do it. Those are the types of things that add to the experience. Give people we love cosplaying in this society. We will show up at all of these cons looking like idiots. So now you're giving us a chance to do it with our friends, with other people that like the same baseball team? Let's go buy some scrubs. We'll do the Burns unit. Like, that was the concept. And I don't know, man. Like, do you really want to? the Burns unit isn't. We're not trying to suggest that we want people to actually get lit on fire. We're just coming up with an excuse to wear scrubs. Buy some orange scrubs. Make it a thing. That's the type of stuff. I did suggest to the PLL, because they're apparently doing their All-Star game at the Kansas City Current Stadium in Kansas City, which is the NWSL team. They have their own specific 11,500-seat stadium in Kansas City. So, like, the Sporting Kansas City has their own stadium.
Gotcha. Okay.
And, like, it's not like in D.C. where the MLS and the NWSL teams play at the same stadium. They built a women's soccer-specific stadium. Apparently, the PLL All-Star Game will be the first men's sporting event at that facility. But the thing there is, like, if there's, like, an open end of the stadium that goes right into a river or a lake, I don't remember what it is. And it was, like, a bit, like, they do something whenever someone misses a shot and it goes out of the stadium and into the water. Like, and I was talking about, like, incorporate that into your skills competition. Like, do a thing where who can make the longest
launch into the river.
And I guess that what I'm realizing is, like, maybe everybody can do that. So I don't know. I don't know. But, like, incorporate it, because that'll play on social media and that'll be a thing. Like, that will look different than other skills competitions and will be unique to Kansas City.
I mean, it's pretty close to the river, so you could see if they can get it across the river. Which I don't know if they'd be able to, but, you know.
And I don't even know what they do for soccer matches there with the there's something with the ball and the river, and, like, do they give,
like, soars it over the goal?
If somebody misses and it goes in the river, like, do you get
like McCovey Cove
10% off of your?
Okay.
They do something, or does the whole crowd make a noise, or I don't know what it is. But the moral being, like, as organic as there's nothing better than when it's organic. Like that, people love that. Why the cow pasture wasn't something the Orioles ran with? Why it was an outside thing, and why they didn't say, "Hey, we should do this more frequently." That changes game day experience. Because now my kids are thinking, like, I want to dress up like a cow.
Mm-hmm. They see that kid on the broadcast
they start
last week.
Yeah, that's true, right? They start walking around the house singing, "Bitch, I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't say meow." How did we let her become? How did she become a major star? How did that happen? How did it go from
Well, she was good.
"Bitch, I'm a cow" to being one of the biggest stars on the planet?
Doja Cat is good. That's fine.
Sure. I'll never.
And she did well. She was smart. She did, what was it? It was, so I remember over COVID, she was like, "If everyone buys my new album, I'm gonna take my top off."
Was that a thing?
Yeah. Everybody was like, "Okay," and everybody started streaming her music. And
But did she actually do it?
No.
Did she? Well, now wait a second. I'm not giving her no respect for that.
What do you mean? It worked.
That's
Got
fault.
everybody
No,
to-
that's bait and
got
switch.
everybody to,
They should be a class action lawsuit then.
I don't know, but her music was good though. So it's
Well,
not
people
like
weren't mad, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, okay. I don't know. Her music is fine. to
And
me.
she still, dresses provocatively enough.
She certainly does that. I'm like, I like Doja Cat, but I just like her. Like, I'm not a super fan. Moral of the story being, that type of stuff to me is bigger than the thing that the Simba cam, right? Like, those things to me are interchangeable. You could do any 5 of those things at any game, and I don't know how many of them are going to stick.
Roller coaster cam. What?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can do any of those. I just don't know that any of them
Why
have,
don't
like,
they do kiss cam ever anymore?
probably because somebody kissed somebody they weren't supposed to. If I don't know that.
For all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But, like, that type of stuff, do whatever you want to do. I don't think that's going to be the difference ever in when someone goes to a baseball game. But 1,000%, giving someone an excuse to dress up and put on a costume and be silly, dog, like, have you been paying attention to our culture? We want that. We want to put on our Star Wars gear. We want to put on cow costumes. Like, we want to do that type of stuff. That is game day experience. There's a lesson from Professor Clark.
There you go. I mean, I'll be paying more attention now. The rest
To what
of
they're
the way.
doing
Yeah,
at
to what they're
games?
doing. I mean, I feel like I try to do a good job.
Also,
but
not having it be 175 degrees. That would also go a long
probably
way
helps.
towards game day experience.
It was a
Like,
tough week for that.
I don't know what the answer. I did have that vibe yesterday where I was like, if the PL ultimately gets to a place where they are building a facility, the way that the Bayhawks were intending to build a facility in Crownsville, that was a thing. If the PLL ever gets to that point and they want to build they want to do it somewhere between Baltimore and D.C. because they still want to try to get the D.C. market out of it, which is kind of silly, but like I understand, and as long as it's still closer to Baltimore, like they build the facility in Annapolis, that's fine, right? Like, if they do that, I would encourage them canopies. Give everybody a can of peas when they come to the game. Like that'll get everybody.
Of course, man. You're just full of the ideas.
Like that was the only thing I think as I was at because it was a bummer because like this is the spot, and yesterday it just wasn't as electric as I'm used to it being. There's some big crowds.
Yeah.
But like I'm used to it being, and maybe Saturday night it was. I wasn't really paying attention to the crowd on Saturday night. I didn't get to go. But all I could think was, like my kids yesterday, we were going to take the kids, and my son was struggling in the heat, like struggling. And so my wife said, I'm taking them to the pool. We're not doing this. They're not going to be outside all day. And so I understood. Like that was the way that it went. But like you can't, when you play these Sunday afternoon games at Camden Yards, you can't change the fact that people are going to be miserable sitting on the first base line. They're going to be in hell. There's no kiss cam or dance cam that's going to make up for the fact that they're in hell. And you can just shrug your shoulders and say, well, there's nothing we can do. Or if it really is about getting people to the ballpark, you could try to start coming up with concepts, ideas. What could we do? Think outside the box. Think big picture for how you can improve the experience. Because undoubtedly tonight, tomorrow night, there's going to be a boatload of people that aren't going to go to the games for that singular reason. And we can, well, I thought you were better. We can tough guy this all we want. Like when people don't show up for meaningful Ravens games in December because it's 6 degrees outside. Well, you soft?
This is my favorite game to go to.
Yeah, enjoy.
Because I can get tickets
for $5 because people don't want to go. And we do this. Like, well, we just say people are soft because they're not going. Like, no, or we could be proactive about it and try to figure out what we can do because this is very real. Not a sermon, just a thought. Today's show. Also brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website. They'll start getting you ready for football season now. Everything you need to know all summer long. They'll be getting you prepared at CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Now, I promise when we come back in, we'll do 3 Up and 3 Down. I'm sorry, I got lost in the tangent. That's my fault. 3 Up and 3 Down next. Glenn Clark Radio. This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at BMWChampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas Combo, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard. And coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. And if it's a Monday...
Three up and three down.
3 Up and 3 Down is brought to you by Game Day, Men's Health, and Owings Mills, as well as Columbia and Frederick. I've been continuing on peptide treatment and continue to wake up in the morning feeling just a little bit more like myself. I didn't get to play Sunday night tennis last night because I went to the Mumford & Sons show. But I'm willing to play tennis another night if somebody wants to play tennis. Like I'm not opposed to that.
One of these next 2 nights when it's going to be
6,000 degrees. That's a good point too. Maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's for the best that we're not. I was thinking about that. We had weird seats at the show last night where they were like an area where people were sitting. We were in the mezzanine, and it was like area where people were sitting. And there was a party that wanted to get up and I'm at a show. Then I was like, it's also 6,000 degrees. Maybe if there's a good night to just sit and enjoy the show, tonight is a good night to sit and enjoy the show. But I've been feeling really good, and we know how this goes. Like, you're a man of a certain age. You just don't feel the way that you did when you were 27, when you were even 37. You just start to have aches and pains, and you feel a little bit lethargic, or maybe you're struggling sexually. Like, these things happen. Sometimes sexual performance, those issues could start in your 20s. Like, that kind of isn't discriminate. It's easy to not want to talk about it. It's really easy to just be like, whatever, I'm not going to deal with it, and just try to get through. If you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, maybe you stop at the gas station and buy some, like, Mexican pills and hope for, like, at least a placebo effect. Or you could actually try to solve the problem. And Game Day Men's Health is a safe space for men that are going through things that they just don't want to talk about with their buddies because they don't want to acknowledge that they're struggling with it. You don't want to talk about around the water cooler. Sometimes you don't even want to talk about with your partner. And look, some of these issues can break up relationships. Not just erectile dysfunction. I mean, like, just you being not yourself can doom relationships. Don't let it snowball. Just get over. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for a complimentary testosterone test. Or I would encourage you to call Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. You could also call their location in Columbia, for example, 443-266-3505, if you happen to be out in Western Maryland. They do have a location as well in Old Fred Rock, and you can give them a call for 240-931-3717. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. I really encourage you to make the call. For me, it was just I needed kind of a pick-me-up, and protein peptides have gone a long way to just making me feel a little bit more like myself and allowing me to get going a little bit quicker in the morning. I thought uniquely this week there were a list of 4 or 5 guys that deserved to be number 1 on the down list, and nobody that needed to be number 3. Like, it was everybody could be number 1 and tied.
Yeah.
And on the up list, there were a bunch of guys that could be number 3, and no one deserved to be number 1. Like, it was just a weird kind of way that the week worked out.
I guess so. I felt like my number 1 ended up being easy though once I had them all laid out. But for the up list,
I didn't think it was easy. I actually kind of went to a default number 1 because it wasn't easy to me.
Oh, okay. Sounds like we'll have a different one.
Probably. I guess we'll start down. My number 3, Ramon Arias, 1-for-19. He has something in common with somebody else on the list, that his only hit of the week was a home run.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I had 2 pitchers on the list, so Arias did not make mine, so Mullins was my number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 hit. He struck out more times than Ramon Arias. I mean, it's just a brutal week. So Cedric Mullins was my number 3, while Arias, just because I had to put two starting pitchers on the list. And
okay. I mean, I did not have to put a second starting pitcher on the list. I think I know who it is. I didn't have to put that person on the list. 1, I felt like I had to. Number 2 is Cedric Mullins for me.
Eflin was my number 2.
He's number 1 of me with the
2
bullet.
awful starts, but because it all boils down to the story of the week, which was the 8-0 debacle, and the guy that you get spotted an 8-run lead, and obviously it was a full team effort in squandering that, but this guy started the
and I would actually say it's
the
less
waterfall.
his fault than anybody else, right? Like, this is the weird part for me about Trevor Rogers is
he's my number 1. Yeah.
I think there's an argument that you just let him work through it, right? Like, you got an 8-0 lead.
Okay.
The worst thing that can happen here is
6 runs. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he gives up 6 runs, but he gets you at least 4 innings, right? Like, he at least makes a dent into the bullpen. So, yeah, it's a close game, and you got to use, but at least you've made a dent. To me, the bigger issue is that they pulled him when they did. Like, that's a bigger problem than his actual performance, which wasn't good, but it didn't require him being pulled in that moment. Like, that is the bigger story of the Trevor Rogers thing. I can also... Everyone knew that the lengthy delay was going to be a problem. And it's one of these, like, explanation isn't an excuse. It's not an excuse. Trevor Rogers is in the conversation to me, but he doesn't have to be number 1 because I don't blame Trevor Rogers for the debacle. I thought the bullpen was the bigger culprit in that game. Like, if you're going to go to the bullpen, they better be giving you something better than what you got.
In the 3rd inning,
I
mean,
understand
you're
that.
7 innings from
I understand that.
bullpen.
I think that was a mistake to begin with. Like, I think that
probably
was
right.
a major
But also, if he
miscalculation.
doesn't absolutely suck, then you're hopefully not having that discussion in the 3rd inning. Or do we have to take this guy out here? And obviously, it was probably the wrong. There was a lot of wrong decisions. A lot of things went horribly wrong that Wednesday night. And Rogers didn't come close to picking up his end of the bargain there. So he was my number 1.
Yeah.
That was the story. The story of the week was
with far lesser expectations.
You take 3 or 4 from Tampa in Tampa.
I agree. It'd be great. It would be great to do that.
It sucks to lose 2 out of 3 to.
I don't
New
blame
York,
Trevor
but
Rogers for that game, even a little bit. Even a little bit. Like, to me, there's a lot of problems in that. I say even a little bit. He's part of it. Like, that's not fair. He's definitely part of it, but I don't blame him any more than even if we did a 3 up and 3 down for that game, I'm not really sure.
I mean, I guess Cano's going to rank pretty high that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Probably the highest.
Your starter got 6 outs.
I
7
understand
outs.
that. I understand. Everything that you said is true. You didn't have to pull him when you pulled him. They chose to pull him.
Well, when we're blaming it on the players, there was something that he either going into the game, they were like, if he gets into any bit of trouble, then we're gonna have to go rescue him. And I mean, it's a travesty that it happened in the 3rd inning. That he couldn't get through.
Yeah, they needed to get innings out of Trevor Rogers. They in the name of chasing one particular game, they screwed a lot up and lost the game anyway. Yeah. Like that was bad. On my up list, I don't. Again, there's a bunch of guys that could be number 3. I still put Colton Cowser on the list because he did hit 3 home runs this week and he OPS'd over 1,000, but he also struck out 10 times. Like, it was a very
Yeah, but that kid was also wearing the move.
Yeah, the kid was cute. Don't get me wrong, but like, it was a weird week for Colton Cowser, where in my mind, like before I looked at the numbers, he was number 1, and then I actually looked at the numbers and I'm like, Jesus, did he even really have that good of a week? But Colton Cowser's number 3.
He's on my list as well. I went with Gunnar at number 3.
Okay.
Know, it seems like he's obviously
certainly hitting a lot of
Zach.
singles.
Yeah,
he's hitting the.
The power isn't there right now for
Not
some
at all.
reason, which is weird when it is 100 degrees. So like you would think
ball should be flying.
The way Gunnar is, if he gets any ball in the air, it's gonna be gone. But yeah, I mean he seems like he's at least the average is showing that he looks like Gunnar Henderson again. So Gunnar was my number 3.
Dean Kramer's my number 2. He pitched well enough in both starts, but like again didn't go 6 innings in either one of them. 2 starts, both gave him team a chance to win. Dean Kramer's number 2.
Dean not on my list. I mean, I don't know, because he still couldn't get through.
That's the thing. Like the innings are but like he gave them a chance to win both games. Like in 2 starts, it's noteworthy.
Yeah. Dean had a good week. Dean not on my list. I went with Cowser as my number 2 for the home runs. You know, he was a big part. They should have gone. They should have won 3 out of 4 in Tampa.
They didn't, but I get it. I get it. We say should have. They could have won. I don't agree with should have won.
They're up 8-0. That's a game you should win 100 times out of 100.
You're having a different They play 9 innings. You should win.
I get it, and you should find a way to.
You're creating one. You're looking at one specific
runs.
part of the game as though the game's over. Like if they gave up 12 runs throughout the course of the game and scored 8 as well, we wouldn't be having the same conversation because of the order in which it happened. We're saying they should have won that game. I don't like should have. They could have won that game.
They should have. I think
we're having
when they don't make the playoffs this year. That's the game.
That's the one. That's the one individual one. Yeah. Look, I this was a real struggle for me, right? Because like who's the other guy on the list? I didn't say this when we were talking about Colton Cowser. I thought there should be a hitter on the list, so like I think I defaulted to Colton Cowser because of it. But in the process, I left off Charlie Morton, and I feel bad about that. But the guy who was best this week was Felix Bautista. He was the best Oriole this week.
Striking out Aaron Judge is big. I went Charlie Morton as my number 1.
I get it. Charlie Morton had a good.
I'm highlighling that Wednesday night as
you're over.
Yes,
yeah,
and him being able to provide a bounce back like he did on Thursday, that was big to me. So Morton was my number
1. Okay, I left him off the list, but he certainly was in consideration. Again, it was a week where anybody could have been number 4. Anybody could have been number 3. Nobody deserved to be number 1.
Yeah, Felix was really good. I mean,
Felix was the best. He did the best job that was your job of everybody.
So awful this
awful.
week.
Awful. Yes, correct. Yeah. Atrocious. But Felix Bautista was really good this week. So he's a default number 1 because it wasn't like he was, this isn't the week where he struck out Aaron Judge in back-to-back games or whatever.
2 inning save, one night, then another inning save the next
It wasn't overwhelming, but nobody was that good this week. It was a bunch of guys that were good. Like Charlie Morton was good. He certainly was.
I guess you didn't have a problem with Cano getting option.
No, at this point, like, what would the issue be?
I mean, yeah, I get it.
Like, this is you kind of are where you are at this point. Like, it's a bummer because he was so good a couple years ago that like you're kind of clinging to that, but just not that guy, man. Just not that guy. All right, that's 3 up and 3 down. We'll get it up at glennclarkradio.com here momentarily. Today's show, or a reminder that Stan the Fan Charles and Ross Grimsley are getting together later today, but they're going to have a special guest, Shane Turner, who is the manager of the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars, will be joining them. Shane Turner, who I believe we learned earlier is one of like 40-some players who ever had one official at bat with the Baltimore Orioles. Shane Turner is joining Ross Grimsley and Stan Charles today at 4:30. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's show is brought to you by the Costas Inn and the brand new Costas Inn under the grandstand in Timonium. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit and two-bit or wind things down for a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas Combo, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them once a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smoke profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Calling all athletes and families, don't miss Football versus Football, a free sports and wellness festival Saturday, July 19th from 10 to 6 at Baltimore Peninsula. Meet retired Ravens, other former NFL stars, and pro soccer players. Join youth sports clinics, get free health screenings, and enjoy food, music, and family fun. Powered by United Healthcare, presented by Sports Legacy Group, and supported by University of Maryland Orthopedics and 1-800-GAMBLER.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here as we're winding down for a Monday edition of the program. Let's go ahead and get. I guess what do we not cover? As far as the games are concerned, the Whipsnakes needed a win yesterday. God.
Yeah, we did.
Off to a 1-3 start to the season. Had to get that one. They got
it easy at least. Yeah.
They got the bye next week and then the All-Star break. So like they were staring down 1-4. Eek. So a much-needed win yesterday after they fell a little bit short on Saturday night.
Overall good week. Rob Pennell makes history, and then
there was that.
A dominant win. Got another Rookie of the Year.
Bum, there's no college baseball game tonight because I always get to this point where I'm like, all right, I love the College World Series. It's great. Not that I was going to be watching the Orioles.
So you were obviously busy yesterday. Did you see what happened in the first inning?
The ejection? Yes. I did see the ejection. I don't really have a take to offer about it. Like, I get the argument
I mean, I don't know.
You never throw out
I feel like I've watched, like, a good bit of college baseball games now, in my life. I don't know if I've ever seen a college coach get tossed. And
that's it.
And
I'm sure I have, but
I'm sure it's happened, and I guess obviously it's college baseball, so it's not like
it's not
ESPN
great.
And,
it's not great, right? You don't want
the biggest
that.
Game of their season.
It's certainly Is that the reason why they lost? No, I don't think so. I watched Saturday night. I watched basically all of that.
You know what? I think Tyner did get run once at a 1,000 game.
So I was watching both that and the Whipsnakes on Saturday night, and there was a moment in that game, in Game 1 of the College World Series final, where and it was late in the game. It was 1-0 in like the 7th or the 8th inning, and an LSU player. It was a 3-2 count to lead off the inning, and a ball that came inside, and just the slightest dip into the ball, arguably to like take it off the elbow guard instead of off of
his shoulder,
just a slightest dip, and gets hit with the pitch, goes to first base, and then gets challenged. And I'm like, what the challenge? You clearly hit him. Apparently in college baseball, you can challenge whether the player tried to get out of the way of the ball or not. The rule, and it's one of these baseball, this happened in my son's championship game.
They challenged it.
No. Different thing. What happened in that game was there was a ground ball to third. There were runners. The bases were loaded. There was a ground ball to third. There were.
I'm looking at it now. It's tough.
There were 2 outs. It was between third and short. The kid did a great job of fielding the ball. And he goes to tag the runner that's coming towards third base. In order to make sure, this team they were playing against, they had been coached up. This kid starts running back towards second base, right? Just to buy enough time to get the runner home, make sure the runner came home from third. Because they went with a tag and not the force out, this is the crazy part. If he just walks over to third base and touches the base,
right,
the run doesn't score because it's a force out. But he tagged the kid. The kid, in the process, ran wildly out of the base path into the grass.
Like when Kobe Mayo was caught a couple weeks ago. And
I couldn't help myself. I try to be a very... But I did find myself just not crazy, just, hey, it's out of the base paths. I felt bad afterwards, but, like, in fairness.
No, you shouldn't. That's what you're supposed to do.
Like, but the bigger problem is because he didn't call it. He counted the run. He didn't call out of the base paths. And my wife was furious, like furious.
At you or at the umpire, like the.
What?
At you or
no, at the umpire.
Okay.
At the umpire. Okay. Like, she's like, what the? He's out of the base path. I'm like, baby, no one has ever called out of the base paths. It's never happened at any level. You could run from second base to center field to try to get to third, and they wouldn't call out of the base paths.
You're
she's
right.
Like,
in that exact Kobe Mayo play, the guy didn't call Kobe Mayo out until the fielder finally was like, all right, I'll just tag you.
Yes. And she said, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And, like, I sort of know that the answer is there really is no base path, right? Like, the rule says the runner establishes the base path. So, in, like, that ambiguous way of looking at it, wherever the runner is the base path. But we know that's not what it's supposed to be. We know you're supposed to run between the 2 bases. Now, we've granted an amount of ambiguity to that because, like, if you're coming from second to try to get home, you're going to take a wider turn in order to have your momentum carry you through and come on home, right? Like, so we don't it's not – we're not going to put a lane, hey, if you ever run out of this lane, you're out. But it creates theater of the absurd in certain situations, and it 100% creates theater of the absurd when you get to rundowns. And while it's cool, like when
Josh Harrison,
no, who was it? Westberg or Kowser that got out of the rundown in the game they blew?
Oh, Westberg. Yeah, because he did
with
the swim move.
The neat slide. Like when it's every now and then you'll see something like that, and he didn't go out of the base path to do it. Like he just committed and said, "I'm going for it, and I'll try to come up with a cool slide." Every now and then somebody gets out of a rundown, and
Josh Harrison was like famous for it because he
just. But we need to call the effing base paths. That's the rule. Like, there should be a rule. You don't get to zigzag for 20 minutes to try to keep a play alive to let a run come score. Like, you have to be in the base paths. We should call that at some point. At some point in baseball, we should enforce that. The same way that the neighborhood play never made a lick of effing sense. That had nothing to do with baseball. We just accepted it because it happened for a long time. Hey, if you're in the vicinity, we'll give you the out. What? Why are we making it easier? You're getting 2 outs out of this. It should be hard. You got to touch the base. If you don't touch the base, the runner's not out. What are we doing? And the hit by pitch thing, I don't watch from Saturday, in favor of expanding that.
Doing the review?
The rule is you're supposed to try to get out of the way of the ball. Now, we could talk about the rule. You want to put more onus on the pitcher? Dude, if you lose one, like, that's on you. But with the way these guys hang over the plate and the way these guys come up with all that body armor, like, I understand the argument of the onus should be more on the hitter than it should be on the pitcher.
Oh, it's right by his shoulder.
What says you've got to get out of the way. And if you're dipping in to try to earn the hit by pitch, I got no problem with calling it a strike. Now, that was particularly tough because that would have obviously been ball. It was a full count. You went from what was obviously ball 4 and a leadoff runner to a strikeout.
Yeah.
And that's a heck of a price to pay. But that's only because of the unique circumstance, right? Like, it was a 3-2 count. If that happens on 1-0, then it's just a 1-1 count, and you keep the at-bat alive, and you go from there. But it also speaks to the absurdity of what was obviously going to be a ball 4. Why are you dipping in? Just jump out of the way. It's ball 4. You're on first base. That's on you, Chief. But I love the idea of that's the rule. We got this hell of an idea. We're going to enforce it. You don't get to lean in to try to steal a free base. Yeah, the rule says you got to get out of the way. And if you don't attempt to get out of the way, we're enforcing the rule. I love that. I thought that was cool. I want to see that. I think that should come to Major League Baseball. I think that should be a thing. Like, 1,000% should exist. I also got into a debate when I think I brought it up on Twitter, and I got in a debate with somebody about some of the intricacies of the rules, like the thing that we saw. Jackson Holliday didn't really get pushed off the bag yesterday. He just kind of came off the bag on the pickoff in the first inning. But the stuff where you see like a defender push someone off the bag, like we should be able to
eject that guy, yeah.
Or just call it and say, no, that's not an out. Your contact forced him.
They usually do. There's not too many situations where like they get that wrong.
Well, sometimes it's very subtle, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's not egregious, and you just keep that on, and you kind of use a.
I mean, usually the
and he's
runner
off the bag, so you call it. But I'm in favor of it, and I like that from Saturday. I think was there anything else from this weekend? I think that was
NBA
it.
Finals.
And we did talk about. I mean, it's a bummer that Halliburton got hurt.
Is this a tainted championship?
No, not at all. The only and I said this to Jim. The only storyline about the Thunder is like they're gonna be a threat to keep doing this because they keep the whole team together, or to his point, could go try to land. They have so many assets they could go try to land Giannis. Durant goes to the Rockets. I don't think that's gonna make a difference. I just think that's gonna be where Kevin Durant plays at this point in his career.
You ready for 40-year-old Kevin Durant to be a Wizard 2 years?
Yeah. Still, you think he's still a couple years away from
yeah.
his Michael Jordan-esque cameo there?
Positive almost.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Is there anything? I think that was it. I think that was all the major stuff that happened from this weekend. Oh, John Jones retired. I guess we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about that on
John
Thursday.
Jones, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Retired, right?
Well, because you say he retired from the UFC.
Oh.
So does that mean we're going to get a Francis Ngannou?
Who knows?
John Jones PFL super fight?
Okay, sure. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. There is a fight this weekend, right?
This
is
yes.
317?
Yes,
correct.
317.
Topuria and
I think they're in Vegas. I'm trying to think. But yeah, Charles
Oliveira.
Charles
yeah.
Oliveira, Ilya Topuria.
Ilya Topuria.
Yes.
Why would you spend money on a pay-per-view when you could just watch the fights for free inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel? Great atmosphere, 100-foot media wall, the food's delicious, win some money as you just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. These pay-per-views cost whatever the temperature is outside right now. I think that's the same number that it costs to pay for the pay-per-view. I think that's actually like how they're going to set it this week. Is
Two
whatever
title fights this weekend too.
What's that?
2 title fights.
Is there a women's title fight?
Alexandra Pantoja at
Yeah.
flyweight 155 or 125.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's Kaikara, France.
I think that's the way they're doing it this week. Is whatever the high is in Baltimore, the highest temperature, that's the number they're going to charge for the pay-per-view.
Over $100.
I think that's the way that it's going to work. Is
Goodness.
it really that much less than that, Griffin? I'm pretty sure that's about the price
now
at this
it's
point.
absurd.
It's about the price. So don't spend that. Instead, enjoy your night. Live casino and hotel Maryland.
All right, let's see. Collect all of our stats from the weekend. The Rob Pinnell, who else is in that top 5 all-time assists, PLL, or because it combines MLL and PLL.
Oh wow.
Yeah. 293 or he's over 293 now. But who did he pass?
Okay.
Can you name any of the other top 5?
Well, hang on. Let me think about this. Don't rush me,
I'm not
jerk.
rushing. I'm just trying.
Don't rush. Well, I know
paint
it was Ryan
picture
Boyle,
here.
right? That he
yes,
passed.
Ryan Boyle is who he passed. 292 was Ryan Boyle. I mean, you should get one of at least one, obviously, of the following 3
on this list. Is that because it's Rabel?
It is. Paul Rabel is 5th all time. 260 something. I just clicked out of it. 252 assists for Paul Rabel, and then we have a guy with 267 and a guy with 256. Let's see.
Is Schreiber on the list?
Schreiber not in the top 5. No.
Okay. He's a hell of a player, man. God, he's good. Got to watch that one. I watched Utah-Denver yesterday. Any of the Powells?
Yes, there is a Powell.
Ryan Powell?
Not Ryan.
Casey Powell.
Casey Powell. 267. 256 for Casey Powell. So he's 4th, and then the 3rd guy on this list behind Boyle and Rob Pinnell.
How about? Man, I really don't know.
Maryland alum.
Joe Walters.
Joe Walters.
One of my favorite players of all time.
Joe
I just think of him as a goal scorer more than I do. Like at Maryland, he was more of a goal scorer. I guess this is the problem is I didn't really follow like the MLL all that much, so like I don't really know any of this stuff.
Aaron Wiggins becomes the 4th Terp to win an NBA title.
I do know this.
Okay.
Keith Booth, obviously.
Keith Booth.
Tony Massenberg. And
the 1st.
Yeah, it was Adrian Branch, right?
Adrian Branch. And then, of course, Drew Nicholas a couple years ago as a member of the front office for the Nuggets. So
that doesn't... I mean, like...
Well, that's why I didn't say...
It's not a thing.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure...
No. I mean, I'm sure he got a ring.
He's
yeah.
an NBA champion.
Like, he got a ring, but that's not... You don't get to, like, claim... Where did... Like, who...
He's an NBA champion. I don't know what you're...
Okay.
I don't know what
we're not doing it.
What were the other ones? I guess I had a few from the broadcast last night just because Shea winning Finals MVP. He became the I had 4th player. Yeah, 4th player to win the scoring title, regular season MVP, and Finals MVP same year.
Scoring
same
title.
Season. Yes.
And a regular season MVP, Finals MVP. LeBron.
Not LeBron.
Jordan.
Yes, Michael Jordan. Yes, I don't know why I blacked out there for a second.
I'll try Tim Duncan.
Not Tim Duncan.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes, when he was Lou Alcindor at the time, but yes, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The same guy.
Well, I don't know if you knew that, but one other scoring title, regular season MVP.
Man, I don't know, man. Scoring title regular season. Is it modern?
Yes, but he's been retired for some time.
For some time. Shaq?
Shaq, yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yep. Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
How about that?
The only 4 scoring title MVP and Finals MVP all in the same year. Jalen Williams and SGA, the second highest scoring duo in an NBA Finals of all time.
The second highest
scoring duo.
Shaq and Kobe?
Not Shaq and Kobe. 377
LeBron
points.
and Kyrie?
LeBron and Kyrie in 2016 scored 398 points between the two of them. SGA and Jalen Williams 377, and they scored 4 more points than Jordan and Pippen in 1993. So those are your top 3 scoring duos, and then I can save the next one for tomorrow.
Did pretty well. I was trying to. I wish I could remember. I wanted to do the bit where. I do have from the trivia playoffs.
Oh, that's right. How did it go? You missed me, I guess.
Oh, I don't want to talk about what happened this weekend.
So you needed me. Darn. I let you guys down, huh?
No, it's so much worse than that.
Did you guys get hosed or?
No, we didn't need to be there.
What?
We got a bye.
Oh man. Well, you're sharpening your skills.
We got a bye. Our team captain apparently doesn't check the email address that they had on file for him.
Who's the team captain? Are we not saying the
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Our movie guy.
I love it.
I rearranged because we had so few players that could be there. I rearranged my schedule in order to make sure I was there. And then I walk in, and he's like, but we're already here, so I guess we might as well play.
And then did you...
Furious.
You slapped him and then walked out?
Furious. There. Might as well play. I mean, furious doesn't begin to describe. And again, no concern for anybody else.
So you're saying you're entering a contract year now and you're a free agent after
the
season?
Yeah, I'm available. Yeah. God damn.
You're going to Kevin Durant, you're going to force your way out of here.
This one was quite obvious. Devised in 1974 and named for the first person to receive this procedure, ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction is more commonly known as what?
Oh, internal brace. Mr. Internal Brace. That's his name.
Everyone got it.
Tommy John.
Everyone in the bar. Which 4 pitchers have the most saves all time in Major League Baseball history?
Mo.
Yes, correct.
The other one.
I only went 3 for 4 on this one, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I only went 3 for 4.
Because we did this a couple times last year with Kimbrel.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Then I should have done better, I guess.
I should be doing better right now. Mariano. And then the other ones.
Yes, the other ones. The other ones.
I don't think Billy was. Yeah, I'll go. No, I don't think. I feel like Billy was right behind Kimbrel. Billy Wagner? I don't think it was him.
That was the one I got wrong. That was my 4th guess, and Billy Wagner is not 4th.
The next 2 guys.
Had the top 3, missed the 4th.
Is Kenley Jansen up there? Kenley Jansen might be 4th. I'm going to go Kenley Jansen.
Kenley Jansen is 4th.
Yeah.
I missed Kenley Jansen.
Kenley Jansen. And then who the heck is between Mo? You're gonna say him, and I'm gonna know I'm an idiot. Dang it.
Wagner 8th all time.
So Kimbrel's what, 6th right now or something?
Kimbrel is 5th.
He's right behind Kenley.
Just outside these 4.
Maybe he's got a chance. Who knows?
He's 22 behind Kenley Jansen.
Okay, so now he's got some.
Yeah, don't think it's happening.
You got to make him up. God, who the heck are the other 2? Why can't I freaking think
Also,
of them?
James McCann not going to be an Oriole.
Yeah, that was a nice little slap in the face as well, right? Did they nothing officials come out about Maverick Hanley, or they're just
no, they said they're going to have an update today, so I assume before the game, I assume.
Oh God, who the heck are the other 2? Why?
This is really, really rough.
I know.
Particularly rough.
They're over 500, right? They have over 500 saves, or one of them does. I don't know.
At least one of them does. Yeah, one of them does. One of them is more than 600.
It's not. It's not Heath Bell. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Heath Bell.
Heath Bell is
way lower on the list.
Not in the top.
And I know it's not Zach Britton.
Where the hell is Heath Bell on this list?
Or Jim Johnson. Felix isn't there yet.
Just guess somebody else so we can get this over with. Heath Bell, 79th all time with 168 saves.
He's
so
right
close.
There. He's right there. He's right there.
Yeah, right there. Heath Bell was your guess.
Mason Miller's not quite there.
No, not quite.
No.
Just guess somebody, for God's sakes.
Josh Hader. No, not Josh Hader. It's not going to be Josh Hader.
It's not Josh Hader. What are we doing? Trevor Hoffman? You heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
An Orioles legend, Lee Smith.
Oh, Lee Smith. Okay.
Orioles legend Lee Smith is the other in the top 4.
You clicked out of it.
478. Hoffman is 601.
Jeez, Hoffman at 600. Yeah, I should have gotten Hoffman, obviously.
Yeah, really.
So Jansen's at what, like 450?
Jansen is at 462.
Oh, okay.
And Kimbrel's at 440. And then the other one was this player who won the award with the Liberty and the Seattle Storm is one of only 2 players to have won WNBA MVP with multiple teams.
Ionescu.
It's not Ionescu.
Liberty and the Storm. Oh, gosh. Darn it. Who else is on the Liberty? Ionescu and... Who the heck else is on the Liberty? Because I'm assuming... I don't know. I might not have a guess here. Seattle Storm.
She won MVP both as a member of the Seattle Storm and as a member of the New York Liberty.
Maya Moore? No.
Like Maya Moore ever played for either of those teams.
Yeah, but she was close. She almost did.
I wrote 2 names down at first, and then I whittled it away and realized that I didn't think the other one had ever played for one of the teams.
Who's like the best Storm player of all time? Gosh.
Well, I would think the best Storm player of all time is Sue Bird.
Sue Bird.
But Sue Bird was the other name that I wrote down, and I figured she'd never played for the Liberty. Also, I realized she's apparently never been WNBA MVP, which is surprising to learn. But this player, indeed, has been WNBA MVP. In fact, 2 times. Which is how we started the premise. Stewie! Brianna Stewart.
Already? Jeez.
Yeah, been MVP with both teams. So yeah, those are the 2 teams.
Then
I felt stupid when I looked it up. When I looked it up later, apparently Lauren Jackson was MVP 3 times when she played in Seattle. But I never even thought about her in the process. I only thought about those 2. But went with Stewie, got it right.
Good job.
Yeah, good thing you're not our sports guy, where we would have lost the match that we didn't need to win.
Did you guys? So
we would have finished in second, so we would have advanced to the finals anyway. This Saturday is the World Series, so this is the big one.
Good luck, yeah.
This is the big one. Let's go ahead and get tubular.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Basically just the Orioles and soccer, I guess, too. That's also happening. Orioles open up a homestand by hosting the Rangers. Maybe a game they should push back to 9 o'clock. But instead, they'll play it at 6:35 on Masson, Patrick Corbin, and Trevor Rogers, the pitching matchup. God, what a pitching matchup.
Lefty? Darn it. Well, I guess they hit lefties.
Yeah, they have been hitting lefties of late. Masson,
runs on
2.
Max Fried.
Yeah, Nationals, Padres, 9:40. It's also the free game of the day on MLB TV. Fox Sports 1, Mariners Twins, 7:40. MLB Network, Red Sox Angels at 9:38. TBS and True TV for the Club World Cup, Inter Miami and Palmeiras at 9 o'clock. DAZN for Atletico Madrid and Botafogo at 3 o'clock. Seattle Sounders, Paris Saint-Germain at 3. And FC Porto Al Ali at 9 o'clock as well. And Netflix for WWE Monday Night Raw at 8. Non-sports.
We got a Barbara Walters documentary. Barbara Walters, Tell Me Everything on Hulu. For
Probably somewhat interesting.
It looked solid. So that's on Hulu. Not much else outside of that. American Ninja Warrior. Still got new episodes of that. And Fallon's going to have Charlize Theron and Jensen Ackles.
They're promoting the reboot of American Gladiators.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Charlize Theron.
Fired up.
I guess that makes sense.
Big fans of The Miz. Rick Boogs.
Idris Elba and New York City Comptroller Brad Lander on Stephen Colbert.
Well, obviously those guys are plugging Fantastic Four. We all
Really?
know that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay. You think that movie will be good?
What?
The head of state. I don't know. The John Cena John Cena Idris Elba action movie.
It's definitely not Idris.
What did I say? Idris Elba.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. No. But
You don't
maybe.
think it'll be good?
I love
Who's
him.
John Cena?
I do love him. I love old Stringer.
Kimmel's out this week, but Diego Luna is guest hosting.
Sure.
So I'm kind of interested in that because I love Diego Luna. He'll have Patton Oswalt and Adria Arjona, his co-star on Andor.
They're of course plugging Jimmy Kimmel.
They're plugging Jimmy
They're
Kimmel.
like,
They're just like,
they're
hey,
we should talk about Jimmy Kimmel.
Why
Not the
here?
show, the man.
Gotcha.
That's what they're plugging.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Very
Okay.
different. Is that it?
That is it.
All right. Very good.
Okay.
Thanks today to Jeremy and to Zach Moore. We'll get that up in the greatest
our
hits
best.
section of the
Galveston.
tab at glennclarkradio.com. Tomorrow?
Was it Tuesday?
Boy.
Yeah. All our Tuesday stuff.
Anybody wants to become a producer or guest booker?
Oh, that's it. I'm out.
Today's the day. Today's the day. This is your chance. You slide right in. You show us that you can handle the responsibilities, and you've got the job.
Yeah, welcome. I welcome it.
Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Maryland 5-Star, Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, the BMW Championship, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costa San, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds, Duke sucks.